All right, we'll start in about 30 seconds.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the October 6th, 2025 meeting of the Merced City Council. We're going to begin with an invocation from Pastor Bruce Metcalf from our rescue mission. After that, we're going to do something a little unusual because Hispanic Heritage Month. Councilmember Deanna is asked to lead the pledge in Spanish, and then Captain Joe Perez will lead the pledge in English after that. So we'll first go to Pastor Bruce, and then Councilmember Deanna, and then Captain Perez.
Will you join me in prayer? Almighty God, we are grateful for your presence in our lives and in our community. We're thankful for the people who provide leadership and direction. Thank you that we have an opportunity to share our voices as decisions are made so there is interaction. We just are grateful for the community where we live, where people are receiving services, where there are listening ears, and where we can care for one another. God, bless our efforts. Help us as a community to work for the betterment of each other and to do what is right in your eyes. Thank you, and we ask for your presence this evening as there are deliberations, and we pray this all in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Bruce. Councilor Deanna.
Before I announce this, or before I say the pledge, I'd like to let you know that because we are having a proclamation for Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm going to say the Pledge of Allegiance in Spanish. Okay, if I stumble over it, forgive me, because it's been a long time since I've said it in Spanish. Juro fidelidad a la fe. No, right off the bat. I'm sorry, I blew it. Juro fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la República que significa una nación, Dios mediante, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie. Captain Perez.
Do it in English. Ready, begin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you again, Bruce.
Okay, agenda item D, roll call. Councilmember DuPont,
Present.
Deanda,
Here.
Harris,
Present.
Smith,
Present.
Zhang,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Boyle,
Here.
and Mayor Serrato.
Present.
Mayor, I'd like to remind the audience that if they wish to address the city council, they must submit a green request to speak form located at the podium in the back of the chamber. Additionally, citizens can submit public comment to the city council electronically no later than 1 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Comments received before the deadline will be sent to the city council and will be part of the record and will be mentioned as part of the written petitions and communications portion of the agenda and will be posted on the city's website. Material may be emailed to cityclerk@cityofmerced.gov, and any correspondence received after 1 p.m. will be distributed to the city council and retained for the official record. Also, for those audience members who wish to hear the council meeting translated into Spanish or Hmong, please let our interpreters know.
Good evening. Hola, buenas tardes. Me llamo Mirna Zárate, soy intérprete en español. Si ocupan mi ayuda, voy a estar aquí sentada. Gracias.
Nhà rộng, cô tôi tạo con hồ lộc với mình tôi cô tôi xài lúa mông rồi này mà nó, giờ này từ sáng tàu lúc trong suy thả mà nó xài lúa mông thì chỉ cô được bé nó cô xài lúa mông rồi này ở trong đó.
In accordance with Government Code 54952.3, it is hereby announced that the City Council sits either simultaneously or serially as the Public Financing and Economic Development Authority, Parking Authority, and/or successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency. City Council members receive a monthly stipend of $500 by charter for sitting as a City Council, and the Mayor receives an additional $100 each month as part of the adopted budget and Resolution 2024-78. The Public Financing and Economic Development Authority, Parking Authority, and successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency receive no compensation. Agenda item E, report out of closed session.
There is no report out of closed session.
Agenda item F, ceremonial items. F1, proclamation, Hispanic Heritage Month.
Thank you, Jennifer. Today is our annual Hispanic Heritage Month proclamation. I would invite, I think I see Anissa, Maria, Rhonda, anyone else from the Hispanic Chamber who's here to receive this proclamation. If you guys could please come on down, and we'll give you a round of applause on your way up. And Arturo. Nope. Welcome, everyone. I'll pass the microphone to you. Want to tell us about Hispanic Heritage Month?
Well, we all know that it's celebrated throughout our history from the Reagan years, I believe. What's that? Okay, well, I'm not obviously a history buff, but it's just a way to celebrate all the Hispanic and Latin communities here in the United States of America. So the Hispanic Chamber always reaches out to the city for the honoring of our Hispanic Heritage Month. So I just want to say thank you to the City Council for always working with leadership here in the community to provide an inclusive atmosphere for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. And it goes without saying, it's impossible to imagine our city without you guys, without all the contributions you make and everything you do. Our community is so much better, so much richer for everything you do and bring and add. And I want to thank you for all that. And ladies and gentlemen, too, Anissa's she's been an exceptional president of the Hispanic Chamber, and she's only got a little while left. She's, I think Friday's the last day. It's going to be there'll be a changing of the guard. So again, just want to thank you too from the bottom of my heart for all the incredible work that you've done and your chamber's done. You guys have been amazing. You know, a driving force behind so many positive things in our town, and you've been right in the middle of so much of it, so it'll be deeply missed. All right, whereas Hispanic Heritage Month is a national celebration held annually from September 15th to October 15th, where we recognize and celebrate the history, culture, and contributions made by Hispanic and Latino Americans. The tradition began in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson, and later was expanded to be a month-long celebration by President Reagan in 1988. And whereas the commencement date of September 15th is important because it marks the anniversary of independence for Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua, followed by the independence of Mexico on September 16th and the independence of Chile on September 18th. And whereas Hispanic Americans bring a rich cultural heritage representing many countries, ethnicities, and religious traditions which contribute to America's future. And whereas the Hispanic community has a profound influence on our country through their strong commitment to family, faith, hard work, and services. And they have enhanced and shaped our national heritage with centuries-old traditions that reflect the multi-ethnic and multicultural customs of their community. And whereas the City of Merced invites all members of the community to learn more about the rich Hispanic culture, traditions, and history, and celebrate the contributions that have been made to our country and community by Hispanic Americans. Now, therefore, I, Matthew Serrato, Mayor of the City of Merced, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim September 15th to October 15th, 2025 to be Hispanic Heritage Month. Thank you. Everybody listen to Jennifer.
Just go step up one. There. And move over. 382 up. Just get up there and step over so you're behind them, and then we can center. That works too. Okay. Step up one, right? Back one. Perfect. There. Thank you very much.
Okay, agenda item G, special presentations. G1, presentation on Young Legislators Program 2025.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. All right, we're going to invite our poet laureate, Joyce Dale, also of Senator Caballero's office, to tell us about Senator Caballero's Young Legislator Program for 2025. All right, good evening, Joyce. Welcome. Always good to see you.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. These are a couple of our young legislators from our participants from the program. And I did send in a video. Is that ready to go? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm ready. We're ready. We are so proud of this video. And you guys haven't seen it yet, huh? No. You're stars. Wait till you see this.
The Young Legislators Program is for them to learn about government, how government operates, and how they can get involved as teens.
I have plans to get a degree in political science somewhere and then follow that up with law school. So I feel like this was the perfect opportunity for me to prepare myself.
I wanted to be in this program to figure out how I can better serve my people and my community.
I'm really excited to be here. This is great. I started it because there is a real need in the community for teens to understand and to be able to participate in a process where they learn and they can be involved in politics. They're coming from all over the district, small little communities as well as bigger cities like Fresno. They get a chance to come to the Capitol.
In that vault, that's where they kept all of the state's money.
And to participate in real life opportunities.
I've heard things about the Capitol, and that's the kind of place that I want to end up.
My jaw was honestly dropped at seeing how amazing it looked, the architecture.
It really gives you perspective of how old and how historic the building is.
This program is really important to me because this is what has to be done if we want an educated voting public and people that are interested in the political process. Welcome, and let me just say that I'm really proud of the fact that you are all part of this program. This program was developed with you in mind. Part of the program is for you to understand that there are a lot of ways that you can get involved, have your voices heard. I do this because I want you to have a better future. They get to see our chambers and where we do our work. Here in the chambers, we are taking up all the bills that have gone through all our committees. It's also called the floor. If it's my bill, I present it. I basically tell people what the bill is about. Many times somebody will have a question. When I'm finished, I ask for an aye vote on my bill, and then the roll is called. And I sit over here. This is my desk. So if you want to take a picture with this is a good time.
It's the senator, right? It's a senator for our region, the person who advocates for us. It's like meeting your superhero, basically, because she's a superhero to us.
There there is a real need in the community for teens to understand and to be able to participate in a process where they learn about the bills that are proposed so that they can understand, come here and participate in a hearing process. Thank you for preparing. Let's get started with the first hearing. Very good.
I like to kind of put myself in positions to experience what I might want to do in the future. So playing the role as a senator during a mock hearing would kind of give me that like exposure.
Welcome to our Senate Public Safety Committee hearing, SB 627.
I'm presenting Senate Bill 627, which is the No Secret Police Act.
It looks like we have a quorum present. Senator, you may start your presentation.
SB 627 would prohibit the use of secret police and undisclosed oversight by law enforcement agencies here in California. This bill protects the constitutional rights of every Californian, particularly in communities that have long faced over-policing and under-protection.
Is there anyone that supports this bill?
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. I'm here in strong support of the Senate Bill 627. In a democratic society, power must come with accountability. The badge, the nameplate, the face, all of these build trust between the community. And I respectfully urge all of you in the committee to support this bill. Thank you.
I support SB 627. I'm here in opposition to SB 617. While there are benefits to officers being required to show their face to the public, it can also create many dangers for officers across the board.
Do you think there should be any distinction in the bill between local and like federal officers?
I think that this law should apply to all the law enforcement agencies here in California.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Rincon?
Aye.
Senator Castillo?
Nay.
Senator Contreras?
Aye.
The bill does pass. Our committee meeting is adjourned.
Great job. You have the power to decide what is it that we're going to focus on as a legislature. And part of it is trying to figure out what works.
It felt really good to be able to like engage in civil conversation. I really enjoyed being able to actually ask the questions and then get a direct answer.
Yeah.
You realize that like a law can't be perfect because there's so many different people involved, so many communities. I think it was really cool to see like it all happen.
I always thought that laws were made with a lot of emotion to it, but there's a lot of logistics and a lot of having an open mind.
It was really awesome getting the experience to really see from both sides.
It felt so real.
You'll also get to go to the California Museum and have a chance to see the different exhibits, and then they'll get back on the bus and they'll ride home.
This legislative program taught me how critical it is to think about all the different perspectives and how important it is to have civil conversations. Ana Caballero really helped me figure out that balance.
My biggest takeaway from today is that we all have a voice.
After taking this program, I feel like I could get involved in my local level.
Hopefully in a couple more years, I'll be able to serve my state of California.
I'm really happy to have this experience and to say that, hey, I did this, I was here.
All right. Great, thank you. And here are two of them that you probably did see them in the movie. So if you guys want to say a couple words, introduce yourself, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alex Hampson. I'm a senior at Merced High, and this program was really an eye-opening experience for me in both for the city level and also on the statewide level that the senator serves on. I feel like it was really cool to be able to see how our legislative process happens in real time in the spots that they were sitting. I think something that wasn't really shown on the video was that prior to going to the Capitol trip, we got to have lessons and Q&As from local leaders in similar capacities around the Merced-Fresno area, in the County Registrar of Voters, on school boards, on environmental boards. And it was really cool to be able to see people that live in Merced, people that maybe live in this area that are affecting the town that I'm living in. And it made it really real and really accessible. And so I'm thankful for this program.
My name is Mariah Fuentes. I am also a senior at Merced High School. I really appreciated this program because it kind of gave me a glimpse into what I want for my future. I would love to be able to be in a position where I'm making important changes to the communities that I care about. And also, I think being in Sacramento, it was just a beautiful experience, and I'm definitely really considering like going to Sacramento State for college. I think it was really eye-opening and has definitely going to open a lot more doors for me. So thank you.
Thank you. So you guys can see our future's looking good. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Very impressive, very impressive. Impressed with the quality of everybody's debates, and you guys certainly don't shy away from the difficult, controversial topics, to say the least. But
Thank you so much.
that was very, very impressive.
Okay, agenda item H, written petitions and communications. Mayor, the clerk's office received emails from Betty Carter, Lori Snyder, and Rosalie Kaygood regarding public comment. The clerk's office also received an email from Guadalupe Gonzalez regarding agenda item J6, and an email from Caleb Medifin regarding agenda item M1. The emails were received by the 1 p.m. deadline. They were sent to council and posted on the city's website. Any emails received after the 1 p.m. deadline will be sent to council. Agenda item I, public comments. Members of the public who wish to speak on any matter not listed on the agenda may speak during this portion of the meeting and will be allotted 3 minutes. The mayor may propose a further limit to the time available for all speakers at the discretion of the city council in order to accommodate as many speakers as possible. State law prohibits the city council from acting at this meeting on any matter raised during the public comment period. Members of the public who wish to speak on a matter that is listed on the agenda will be called upon to speak during the discussion of that item. Mayor, I believe I have 7 requests to speak forms.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. 3 minutes each, and call the first group of speakers at your discretion.
If I can get the first 4 speakers to the podium to my left, Barbara Cortez, Augie Freeman, Belinda Burnett, and Melissa Morales.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Are you Barbara? Yeah. Okay.
All right, good evening
Hi.
and welcome.
My name is Barbara Cortez. I live in Merced for 30 years now, and I've been walking Bear Creek from McKee to G. And I wanted to let you know, in case you haven't walked Bear Creek from that section.
If we could pause the time at 2:45. If you guys could please keep it down. I'm going to tell them what. Hey, so, tell them to keep it down a little bit. Oh, you're good. Oh, you're, okay. Sorry about that. Okay, ready. Sorry about that. Just wanted to make sure we had
Okay,
everybody had
so
full attention.
if you haven't walked that part, the trees are going to be gone soon, because I guess the flooding that we've had lately, these last few years, the tree by the part you walk on is solid, but the other side has no dirt, no nothing. The roots are shown, and they're going to fall in. I don't know who's in charge or how you go about it, because what I found out so far is that the city has a part, the county has a part, and the state has a part. So how you figure that out or how it can be worked on, I don't know. Another topic, the trees was the most important, is I'm a senior. I'm 74, I walk Bear Creek, it's 3 miles, and I need to stop and take a break. And there's 3 benches on each side. But on the north side, the bench that's got a water fountain is where the homeless live, and I don't want to sit there. The other bench is pretty high up, and you're dangling your feet. You have to be like 6'4" in order to sit down and have your feet on the ground. And the other one is out in the open for the last 30 years with no shade at all. No tree by it, no nothing. And the same goes to the south side. On Parson, there's a bench, no shade at all. So if you hit there, you better be there really early in the morning, and I don't go at evenings. And the other part is Glen, and that had 2 shade trees, which I guess were dying because they just chopped them. That's why I'm here. But they chop things, and they don't replace things. There's no other shade there, so it's not a good spot. The other part is by G Street, and if you're lucky, there's no homeless guy sitting there, and you can sit and take a break. So I don't know how to address this other than to tell you what my problems are. And so maybe you can work out something with somebody that can do something about it. Maybe there's funding for some kind of shade or trees being put there. I don't know. But we need to protect the trees that are big and solid that are going to be laying in the creek real soon. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just, we're in the midst of a major Bear Creek renovation and towards the end of a planning stages of that. If I could, we'll follow back up with you maybe. I don't know if Frank or Chris Jensen, our Parks and Rec Director there and back, if you want to check with them real quick, leave us your information. We'll follow up with an update on where we're at in the planning stages for the big Bear Creek Restoration Project.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Freeman.
Good evening, Mayor Serrato, City Council members, City Manager, staff, Chief Stanfield and Chief Wilson, and citizens of Merced. My name is Aggie Freeman, and I serve as Assistant Governor for Rotary District 5220, representing the Rotary Club of Merced Sunrise and 6 neighboring Central Valley clubs. Tonight, I'm honored to share an announcement of regional significance, the upcoming arrival of the Wall That Heals. In November 1996, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund introduced the Wall That Heals, a mobile version of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. This stunning 3/4 scale replica was created to bring the memorial's powerful message of healing and remembrance to communities across America. Since its first tour, it has visited hundreds of towns and cities, allowing millions to connect with the legacy of those whose names are etched on the black granite panels. This fall, from October 9th through 12th, 2025, the Wall That Heals will be on display at the David McDonald Park, 101 North Temperance Avenue in Clovis, California. The exhibit is free, open to the public for 24 hours a day, offering veterans, families, students, and community members a chance to visit, reflect, and pay tribute. Mayor, you may remember that the Wall That Heals was hosted right here in Merced at Merced College last March 2024 through the leadership of the Rotary Club of Merced Sunrise and Merced College and our community partners. Hundreds attended, including school groups, veterans, families, and first responders, each finding a deeply personal connection to the experience. This exhibit is more than a memorial. It is a classroom, a place of reflection, and a bridge between generations. Alongside the wall itself, the Mobile Education Center helps visitors understand the Vietnam War's impact, not only on those who served, but on the families and communities who carried their stories home. Volunteers from the community are needed to bring this powerful experience to life. If you or your organization would like to assist, please visit the website to learn more. Mayor, on behalf of Rotary District 5220, thank you and the City of Merced for continued support of our veterans, our service organizations, and the magic that happens when communities remember and unite for good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ag. Belinda.
Good evening, Council and citizens that are here. I want to thank all of you who did show up at the Courthouse Museum on Saturday to celebrate the 150th anniversary and the successful renovation of this building. It is the only one left of the courthouses built by this architect that has survived. And it's thanks to the community and surrounding areas and state and basically the locals who have supported this. Although it says it's the county courthouse, you need to understand it represents the city and all the other cities in our county, so we need to be really proud of it. One thing I would like to ask the council to seriously look at is we have a lot more food trucks now. And I have worked help a friend of mine at a festival with a food truck. And I know what we had to go through to get it okayed. And those of you who've been around a long time know about Captain Billy's Chili. And I know what they did to get it done. I hope that you'll seriously look at, we have too many of them now. Some of them are not even in a truck, and you go down 15th Street on a early morning and you'll see the food. There are so many things that our regular food places have to go through to make sure that everything is safe, that the food is stored in a commercial approved kitchen, that I think sometimes maybe might be being overlooked because of the trucks coming in and out, where in a festival, they have 2 days to get approval. So I hope you will seriously look at that factor of maybe having to do a lot more checking of the trucks to make sure that they're following the same things everybody else does. The other thing is, as I told you guys before, I have a hearing disability. I am still having trouble hearing what's going on. So maybe this next year you can look into what can help those others who have that hearing problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Chiefs, and council members. My name is Melissa Morales, and I'm here speaking on behalf of my partner, Enrique Valencia, owner of Maria's Taco Shop, and also on behalf of about 70 other restaurant owners that have signed the petition which we present to you tonight. First, I want to be very clear. This is not about targeting immigrants. Many of the restaurant owners here tonight, including Enrique, are immigrants or first-generation Americans who know what it means to work hard, to build something from the ground up, and to contribute to this community the right way. We are here tonight because illegal unauthorized street vending has become a growing crisis in Merced. For the past few weeks, Enrique and I, while being downtown, personally saw about 15 different pop-up vendors operating in an empty parking lot after hours. These aren't permitted food trucks, and they aren't inspected kitchens. They're unregulated, unsafe, and unchecked. Word is spreading because people chased out of the Bay Area are now coming here because Merced is known as a place where nothing will be done. This is hurting us on multiple levels. First, it hurts our local economy. Honest business owners who pay taxes, carry insurance, maintain permits, and follow health codes cannot compete with vendors who bypass all of that overhead. And let's be real, restaurants are already on thin ice. Nationally, about 30 to 35% of restaurants fail within their first 2 years. In smaller markets like Merced, that number can be even higher because we don't have the same customer base or safety nets as bigger cities. That means nearly 1 out of every 3 new restaurants here won't make it past year 2. And those aren't just statistics. Those are families, livelihoods, and dreams in Merced going under. If we want Merced to thrive, we need to be intentional about creating an environment where these businesses actually have a fighting chance. Second, it creates a serious public health risk. These vendors are handling and selling food with no sanitation, no refrigeration, and no oversight. When people get sick, and eventually they will, it will be our emergency rooms overwhelmed, our taxpayers footing the bill, and our city's reputation on the line. And third, this creates an environment of lawlessness. Allowing dozens of vendors to set up in parking lots under hours sends a message that Merced doesn't care. That reputation will only grow and more outside vendors will pour in until this is completely unmanageable. We know that enforcement requires coordination. We know that it involves the health department, the PD, and city leadership. We know there are overtime costs and logistical hurdles, but we also know that doing nothing is not an option. Confiscating food and equipment once in a while is not a solution. We need a consistent, visible, and enforceable plan. We are asking that you stand with us, that you protect the people of Merced, protect the legitimate businesses who invest in the city every day, and stop unpermitted vendors who not only exploit the system, but in some cases exploit human beings. Merced deserves better. We deserve fairness, safety, and leadership that won't look the other way. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next speakers.
Okay, if I get the next 4 speakers, Gloria Sandoval, Raphael, Chief Stanfield, and Frank Quintero.
Okay, thank you. Gloria was next.
You're next.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening, Gloria.
Today I want to share an article that I came across. The title is California Braces for Devastating Expected Cuts to Federal Homeless Housing Funds. I just want to let you know my concerns about it. The article is really good. You could find it on CalMatters. They have not brought out, as was mentioned, at the continuum of care and informal conversation, but they are coming. And some of the information that's given us says that, you know, everyone is kind of facing that there's going to be thousands of California's most vulnerable residents likely will be evicted from their subsidized housing and may end up back on the street. So I know, you know, the woman before that spoke about being concerned about homeless being on a bench. We're going to see a lot more homeless. And this is permanent housing monies that are coming down. And mostly, I think, you know, it's important that our leaders plan on what we're going to do without those funds. I know that the rescue mission here has done really well on having a campus that has a lot of different programs for people. Here, just, you know, basically that 3.3 million are going to turn to be 1.1 billion, and that's across the country. And that was something that was reported by Politico. And I think that it's just like Los Angeles, they have about 217 million at stake. That means about 8,000 units of housing are at risk. I know the state also provides some monies, but you know, if you think about it, like there's actually Stanislaus, someone from Stanislaus actually gave a few comments here that there's going to be, I mean, a real devastation. And we know in the Valley, people don't stay in one place. You know, there's reputations where people say, oh, they're going to help us there, they're going to help us there. I just want to, you know, tip you off that this is something that's got to be planned for. And, you know, I will help in any way I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Welcome, sir.
Hello, my name is Rafael Macias. I own a restaurant here in Merced. I'm just here to find out if you guys have any plans to stop all these problems that we have about the vendors in the streets. If any one of you guys can explain that to me, if there's any plans to stop them or...
Yeah, we currently, well, we can't, there's no kind of back and forth here. We can't give a lot of information here. We can give very limited information.
So,
but we'll let you, if you finish your comment, and then when you're done, we'll direct you to the right place real quick.
Yeah, because I feel like probably a lot of us are wasting our times. I mean, we've been seeing this problem not for a month, for probably a year, 2-3 years, and nothing has get done. And for us to stay in business is very hard. We got to pay $10,000 P&E bills. We got to pay all kinds of permits and all kinds of workers' comp. And it seems like everybody just suit and tie, and who cares, you know? I mean, we need you guys to step down and take care of us, and otherwise we're going to close our businesses. And then what are we going to do? Probably just get a table like everybody else, put our tamales and tacos in the street, and who's going to say anything to us? Nobody. So either you guys going to shape up or we're going to do something. That's all I have to say. Because I'm sick and tired to collect money for you guys, sales taxes, pay this, pay that, and nothing gets done. Everybody do whatever they want to do. So either we want to do the same or you guys going to take care of that, you know. And thank you. And don't forget, my name is Rafael Macias, and I have a restaurant here in Merced. And thank you for everything.
Thank you, sir. Sir, if there's any, the police department, Chief Stanfield, Captain Dabney, and Perez, they can update you on any enforcement efforts. State law requires us to essentially allow the vendors, but we can impose time, place, and manner restrictions. We're currently in the process of updating our ordinance, so we'll see what we can do.
Really bad. I feel like
I can't, if you step down, I can't. But no, we'll follow up. We can follow up later offline. Jennifer, anyone else?
Good evening, Council. Chief Stanfield, I'm going to give you your Q3 update. This is the third time I've done this year. Every quarter this year, I've committed to giving you crime statistical updates of where we're at as a city. And so as we sit today at the end of Q3, moving into Q4, arrests are still up by 54% in the town, but juvenile arrests, which is a positive for us, are down 28%. 28% fewer juveniles are committing crimes or being arrested, which is good news for us. We're seeing an increase in overall cases across the city by 7%. Traffic accidents are down 27.5%. Ticket issuance, and these are not red light tickets, they're issued by staff tickets, are up 104% from last year. Vehicle burglaries are down 36%. Commercial burglaries are down 22.5%. Residential burglaries are down 38%. Burglaries overall, over all three categories, are down 31%. Robberies down 28%. Auto theft is down 36%. Sexual assaults are down 16%, and my tablet just shut off on me. Assaults is the only crime statistic that we're carrying a positive on. It was up 5% the last time I gave you a statistical update. It's now only up 0.6%. It's about 11 more cases this year than last year. Shootings, overall shootings, any category where shots have been fired, there's reports of shots fired or evidence of shots fired, is down 29%, and homicide is down 25% year-to-date overall. We also are only seeing a 4% reduction in staff. We have 4 vacancies currently at the police department, and we're filling up fast. We do have a couple records clerk vacancies and a dispatcher vacancy, but interviews have been done, and our staffing levels are higher than they've been probably in 25 years, all thanks to the work of the community and this council. So we wanted to update you. I'm extremely, extremely proud of all the staff that work so hard to lower all these crime statistics for our community. We continue to do great community outreach events. I think this is all playing into what we're seeing when we see crime statistics dropping. It's just a mesh of high staffing levels, positive community focus, community academies. We just had our first successful Hispanic community academy, which was absolutely full. We had to turn people away. It was the most full class we've had in years. And now we're trying to figure out if we can do a community academy in Hmong next. So we're going to take it to the next level. So the police department is doing very well. We still have room to grow, but those are the updates going into quarter number 4, and we hope to end the year strong. So I just wanted to update you where we sit as of today. Thank you, council and city staff, for all your support this year, and we continue to make this community better every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you for all hard work. Appreciate the update. Jennifer, anyone else?
We have Frank.
Good evening, Council. Economic Development Associate Amanda Williams and I are going to present a brief economic development summary of about the past 6 months and what we've been working on. Recently, we attended the International Council of Shopping Centers Western Region Division meeting in Palm Springs. It's generally not a market that we work with. And so we went there with some expectations. However, it turned out to be a very successful show for us. We had several engagement with clients, and we also had a number of floor meetings as people wanted to understand where Merced is, what it had to offer, and of course, what the opportunities were for development and development generated by UC Merced. We also had the opportunity to speak with Patrick Chareau, who is the owner of the Sears building, and that's the picture in the center. We kind of have a height discrepancy between the two of us. We also had the opportunity to be welcomed and thanked by Eric Corpus, who represents Burlington Real Estate. But the main thing is, and it was very successful, because we brought with us Valeria Renteria from the Planning Division, our associate planner. Sorry, I was going to give her a promotion right now to senior planner. She's an associate planner, because one of my desires with the second floor is to cross-train and to give them some background and experience in economic development. And it turned out to be a very successful show for us and our team.
from those meetings, this is an example of a project that's been talked about for a while now. On the right is the concept of what was planned, and now we have the signs up. We have Burlington opening later this week and Five Below soon to follow. We have a lot more new infill and reuse investment projects. Like most of you know, Hilton Garden Inn and Conference Center is opening up soon. We have Raising Cane's, Boot Barn, Pollo Campero that we've had meetings with at ICSC shows. All of these will be at the mall. We have Yosemite Crossings Phase 3. They have announced Angry Chicks and a Poke Bowl place with more to come. An example of an infill site is the Starbucks at G Street and West 23rd Street. This is an example of an open space, but also bringing in Starbucks' new concept of a neighborhood store. It's been successful. I don't know if you guys have seen the outdoor seating, but we're excited about that project. In downtown Merced, we have a lot of new concepts and life opening up. The Goods Market just opened this last weekend with citizens wrapped around the building. It was great to see. Tijuana opened, Kind Neighbor opened, and we'll be having their grand opening soon, with Valley Public House and Una Mas also opening soon.
Okay, thank you both.
Thank you. Just very quickly, we've had
I gotta cut you
a
off.
lot of industrial success, and Frito-Lay's opening a warehouse in
I
South
gotta cut you off,
South
Frank.
Airport.
You had two speakers, you should have
want
gone two.
Thank you, Mayor.
Could just put in two cards, but you didn't.
Mayor, we do have a green request to speak form from Akram.
Amanda Williams.
But no, from Akram, but he doesn't mark if it's an agenda item or a oral communications item.
All right. Come up, start talking, and if it's for an agendized items, we'll have to push you back till later on.
Mr. Mayor, Chief, City
How are you, sir?
Council, everybody else. My name is Akram. I run a page on Facebook, social media called 209 Eats. I've spent the last 8 years of my life taking internet marketing training and using it to help bolster this town's small businesses, mostly the mom and pop restaurants. Quite a few people out here know who I am and what I do. Somehow, some way, something really needs to be done in order to separate the actual brick and mortars and taco trucks with the unlicensed kitchens. It's causing a lot of retention problems with these businesses who are having a hard time bringing in people. And particularly Friday before last, there was about 300 people out here across the street from this gentleman's restaurant. It looked like a big carnival, 9, 10 o'clock at night. The other restaurant that's across the street had 2 tables. We're allowing whatever's going on to harm these businesses. I've worked with a lot of these people, helped open a lot of businesses, helped keep businesses open during COVID. I've sacrificed a lot, and I've never asked for anything. And now I'm here today at the behest of not just some of the people here today, but others who found out about this meeting and asked me, begged me to come and speak. Can you guys please find a way? And I've been directed by people that I work with to offer any help I can. However, and Matt, you know how to reach me, so however you guys want to do this, I'm down to help out with any way I can.
Okay, thank you, sir. We can follow up.
That's all we have, Mayor.
All right.
Okay, agenda item J, consent calendar.
All right, okay, so our consent agenda. Any members of the council have any items that they would like to have pulled for separate consideration? I have Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to pull items J5 and J8.
Okay, it's 5 and 8, building services contract, and 8 are update to our grant policy. Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I need to recuse myself from J5 and J11.
Okay, 11, the skid steer loader purchase. All right, anyone else? Councilmember Jean.
I would like to pull 6, 10, and 15.
Okay. 6 is McKee. 10, the school flashing beacons, and 15, the OTS grant for DUI enforcement. Anyone else? Okay, Jennifer, anything from the public?
I do have one, Mayor, for Gwendolyn Hageman for J3.
Okay. These are traffic committee minutes. Okay. All right, and that's it?
That's all we have, Mayor.
Okay, anything else from the council? Seeing none, is there a motion or any discussion with respect to the balance?
Motion.
Second. What do you think? I think DuPont got it. Okay.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Boyle and a second by Councilmember DuPont. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, and the motion passes unanimously.
All right. We'll take up the two items that Councilmember Smith has a conflict on. We'll do 5 and 11. I think it's the most efficient course. Ask Councilmember Smith to step out. We'll address 5 and 11, and then bring it back. Okay, first J5, these are amendments to extend consultant contracts for building services. Your request to pull as well, Councilmember Harris.
Good evening, Denise Frazier, and I'm Chief Building Official, and here to answer any questions you may have regarding item J5.
Okay, thank you, Denise. Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. My interest here is in the grants part of this. I support as you well know, a dedicated city employee to be hired for grants. We're hiring a social media person full-time for social media, and I think that the same priority should be for dedication to grants for the city. And I understand our PIO, Jennifer Flockman, has a list of items for trying to change my mind, so.
I think, is that more for J8, Mike, the grant policy?
No, that's a different issue on J8.
Okay. 2 bites at the apple. Okay. All right.
So personally, I've seen dedicated grant writers be very successful within cities and counties. And I'm just advocating for us to adopt the same model that I've seen before. I think it.
Item J5 is for inspection services. It's for permit technicians, plan review, and building inspections. This is not for grant writing.
Yeah, I think it was J5 and 8.
I knew that one.
Mayor and council member, I believe Councilmember Harris is referring to agenda item L3.
We're all confused.
So that is an action item and that will be presented before you.
That's correct. I apologize.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, questions for Denise? Anything related to J5, which is our, it's amendments to extend consultant contracts for building services as she discussed. Okay. Anybody else? Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember DuPont and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Boyle. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. And the motion passes with Councilmember Smith recusing himself.
Thank you, Jennifer. To J11, is purchase of a skid steer loader. This was also Councilmember Smith's request to recuse himself on this item. Discussion, questions from council. Jennifer, anything from the public?
We don't have anything for this item.
All right, discussion, questions, or a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Boyle and a second by Councilmember DuPont. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, the motion passes with Councilmember Smith recusing himself.
Thank you, Jennifer. We'll invite Councilor Smith back in. We'll take up agenda item J3. Gwen, I think that was your request to have heard separately. All right, for the public, this is our traffic committee minutes from July 8th of 2025. Gwen.
Okay, I have some experience dealing with the traffic committee, and some of my neighbors encouraged me to come here tonight and just express our feelings as the public to the council. I live on a street that's 3 blocks long. It's West 21st Street between Courthouse Park and Fremont School. We had some horrendous accidents, many of them. And it was our thinking we needed to slow down traffic, who was racing from the courts and the law enforcement offices on one side of us to our street on the other so they could get to the highway or Olive Avenue very quickly. We have a lot of young children in our neighborhood, people walking dogs, skateboarding, all kinds of things. And it was only going to be a matter of time till somebody got really hurt or killed. We had traffic driving into houses, taking out trees, very bad. So I'm one that likes to work within the system, and I'm very fortunate to have a lot of flexibility on my work schedule. But the traffic committee meets at 2 o'clock on Tuesday every other month. So while in the end, we were very happy to get the stop sign we were requesting because we had a sufficient number of serious accidents to actually meet Cal OSHA standards to have a stop sign. And I appreciate the traffic committee for actually approving that and getting it rolling. But it took 8 months to accomplish it. I went to the first meeting, and one of my other neighbors was also there for the same reason. Then they told us to come back to the next meeting and they would have the police report. I went back to the next meeting and they didn't even have us on the agenda. I couldn't go to the third meeting, so my neighbor, Diana Gunn, went in my stead. Many of you might know her from the DNA Association. And then when I went to the fourth meeting, they actually did have the police reports and went ahead with the vote to make the stop sign. The whole city is kind of difficult for people that work to do things. And I would really love to have maybe meet every month or something like that instead. Thank you.
There's another, if you want to hang out for a couple hours, there's another traffic committee item on. I think it's M2, but we can follow up and try to brainstorm ways to do better. Thank you. I'm glad it worked out. All right. Discussion or a motion, or Ken, do you want to? Anybody got any questions for Ken? Okay, just the minutes. So yeah, not much before us tonight is just to approve the minutes. And Ken, you're welcome to weigh in if there's anything you want to say. All right, additional discussion or motion with respect to agenda item J3, which is the July 8th, 2025 Traffic Committee minutes.
Motion.
Second. So this is agendized for information only?
Yes.
Do we need to move?
I think it was on the, yeah, it was on the, to approve the minutes.
Okay.
You have to approve them. We have to approve the minutes.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Boyle and a second by Councilmember DuPont. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Gwen. J6, this is the McKee project. Councilmember Jean.
I wanted a separate consideration on this simply because I don't support going forward with the McKee rehab project. As I mentioned before in the past when this came up, I think there's better uses for the $1.3 million. I don't agree with prioritizing this project because of the county, and I think we should put money to fix roads where community residents have asked for us to. So I disagree with this.
Okay. Additional discussion. I've heard, obviously we get a lot of complaints about our roads. I've heard just, McKee is a common source of concern amongst residents that I hear, but Councilmember Smith.
Thank you. I think it's the right conversation to have where to put our scarce road dollars. But this is a win-win for everybody. We're sharing costs with the county to redo what's become a major artery. I don't think it was built to be such, but it goes through District 3, District 4, to District 6, serving UC Merced. I fully support this project.
Okay. Councilmember DuPont.
Thank you, Mayor. While I understand concerns of Councilmember Zhang, I did have a question, either city engineer or city manager. Working with the county and MCAG in this project, does it reduce the total amount of costs that taking on a project like this ourselves would be?
That's a great question. We were at MCAG earlier this afternoon. The cost for road construction for the county is coming in at about $500,000 per mile, and cities around the county is about $1 million per mile. So it's a much more effective use of their time or their expenses are much less than ours now.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Daryl. Yeah, I just think it's a good use of leveraging funds for a project that does need to get done and is used by many residents within the city, and allows us to leverage the funding at a lower cost. But while I may agree that there's other streets in the city that may be more in distress, leveraging the cost when we have little funding to begin with is always the best. So I look for the support.
Okay, Councilmember Jean.
And don't misunderstand when I mentioned that I don't support it, right? Because in terms of dollar amount, it is a worthwhile project, right? It's just that I'm not fond of us jumping on board when the county's proposing a project and it just supersedes everything else that we do, right? I think it's important to continue to prioritize community input and see where they actually want the money. I get it. We're going to lose money if we do it that way, but that's how I see things. I'd rather have community decisions and priority rather than simply jumping when the county wants us to, and they're giving us money to do so.
Okay, makes sense. Jennifer, anything from the public?
We don't have anything, Mayor.
Okay, additional discussion or a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Boyle and a second by Councilmember Smith. The motion will include the adoption of Resolution 2025-58, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Merced, California, authorizing the city manager to file the Regional Surface Transportation Program, RSTP, exchange funds claim for fiscal year 24-25. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, the motion passes with Councilmember Zhang voting no.
All right. J8, our grant update to our grant policy. And Councilmember Harris, I believe this is.
Thank you, Mayor. My question here is looking at the grant policy proposed. Grants less than $50,000 are delegated to the city manager to apply and accept, and delegated to the finance officer to make necessary budget adjustments of revenue expense. But grants over $50,000 or more require council action to approve a resolution to even apply and council action to accept and appropriate. And I'm curious why we need to be involved in bigger grants that probably do more for us and why that shouldn't be delegated also.
Okay. All right, take it, Venus, or you want to?
he was looking that way, so I didn't know if the expectation was for the city manager to. I think initially we started this policy was to provide some consistency for staff. Over the years, there's not really been a set threshold or types of grants where we would apply for, not apply for, what requires a resolution, what does not require a resolution. So it just became what kind of grants do we typically apply for, if they're in line with programs already versus is it a whole new program? Would we want council to weigh in on those applications? And we just came across this threshold because of the types of grants we consistently get every year that we see coming to you that you tend to just approve every year versus the bigger ones that we would want your input on.
I don't know if you have this information at your fingertips, but over the past few years, how many grants of $50,000 or more have we turned down?
I don't think that I know of any, unless any department head knows of any. I don't think we have.
And I don't think we probably would. My concern is that grants are very time dependent, and getting us into that loop tends to stretch out and lose time if we don't even begin to apply before we have to do a resolution. So,
There was a discussion about timing on grants and the potential for that, but the thought was, so a lot of times also just having no criteria just allows staff to kind of take their time, right? And then we're trying to do everything last minute. So I was hoping to establish that staff would do it with timeliness, and then also knowing that it's a potential we may need to make a change. So if we see we were going to put this in place, and then if we see that we're doing that a lot, like we're having grants due before we can get to council, then we would make an adjustment to the policy and come back for that.
I think at the very least, I would increase that threshold to at least $250,000, but I would encourage my colleagues to weigh in on this and get their thoughts.
Just jumping in, I think if this is staff's recommendation, I think it's likely appropriate. Certain grants, require either some sort of match. They require an ongoing commitment of funding. For example, the SAFER grant with the firefighters. Other only partially fund a project or an initiative going forward. So I think a lot of them involve policy decisions or commitment of resources, which the council needs to be involved in at some point. Councilor Smith.
Thank you. Yeah, I tend to side with the mayor, though I understand the discussion points. This is staff's recommendation to clean up their process. I do think it's important that council continue to weigh in at some threshold, right? Because dollars mean a change of direction from a policy perspective. If staff is suggesting 50,000, I think we should give it a shot and see where it goes. But to an earlier point, I've seen more that we've had to walk away from grant funding that we haven't accepted it in the first place, because sometimes things cost more to build or do than the grant allows, and we can't quite get there. And so hard decisions are made. And so I think for that additional reason, council should weigh in on even starting a direction, because these decisions about where we put our funding needs council buy-in in the future.
Yeah. And part of it too, just getting out in front of council too shows it's like everything in front of us, it's designed to put it out in the public, to be some sort of sunlight provision where the public can see it, and then also too, making sure that everybody's aligned. Venus is, do we find? And there's a lot of little grants, for example, $750, I think it was for tennis, things like that.
Jen, will you bring up I actually have a slide, and I believe it was in the admin report, just showing the types of grants we tend to get that are under 50,000, and they're pretty consistent every year. So we tend to get JAG grants, which are your justice assistance grants, Bulletproof Vest, which does require a 50% match, but typically the police department budgets for that match. So it wouldn't we wouldn't need additional appropriation for that. We have your ABC grants, state Homeland Security grants, police and fire have had those grants in the past. We've had a Listos grant for fire, which was under 50. And then Parks and Community Services tend to get the smaller grants between $750 from the Tennis Association and then $1,000 to $5,000 for Merced County First Five.
what sort of work is involved in going to council, doing all the extra steps for, say, for example, a small grant? Is it, to what extent is it burdensome?
Well, it's creating an admin report. We tend to not have to do resolutions on these, but it's the admin report, the time it takes. The admin report is actually reviewed probably by like 6 staff members as it goes through the process. So it can be timely. Some of these grants are already, the timeframe is already started the clock. So if we come to council 3 months later, that's already 3 months of the timeframe to use the grant. A lot of the PD grants, we tend to not use all of them because the time limit is up and they couldn't use it in the time period allowed. So we tend to leave money on the table on those grants. So it just allows us to start using them quickly and more timely.
All right. Additional questions? Councilor Jean.
Yeah, so I do share similar concerns about how some of these items might not be coming back to council. One of my biggest issue here is transparency and public accountability. I think that once we go down this route, anything under $50,000 is pretty much hidden from the public, right? Y'all aren't gonna see any of this at all on consent, on anything. And so that's one of my biggest issue on here. I don't see a reporting requirement on the resolution saying that we need to report out any of the grants that we received. And so I'm not fond of it. And then just on that list right there, I voted against a good chunk of those. And so I wouldn't want it to be simply left to staff at that point. And so, yeah, I'm not in favor of this.
Okay, Councilor Smith.
Item J2 on the agenda, we just passed by consent, is information-only contracts table for September 2025, showing contracts the city entered into that are 39 grand or less. Venus, could we do something like that for grants that are pursued and or executed under 50,000?
Yes, we can.
And we can write that into the policy.
Yeah, I can adjust the policy to come, or to report that as information only for council.
Okay.
Or I think, Councilmember Jean, I think, makes a good point about, the need for transparency, but then obviously balancing that with the need for efficiency as well. Are there any other ideas about how we could, accommodate certain things? If we're acquiring equipment, that's one thing, but if, I think that's budgeted, just acquiring like, bulletproof vests, those kind of things, I think, that's pretty straightforward, but if it involves some sort of potential policy or police actions, like, the alcohol beverage control grant, even though that's, I think certainly in support of that, but at the same time, is there, I don't know. I mean, I think council might want to potentially weigh in on some of those. Just a thought. Councilmember Dupont.
Thank you, Mayor. I think if we start getting into the weeds too much and start being staff ourselves, that gets confusing. We're going to say, well, let's pick this one that has to come back to council, but that one's okay. I think 50,000, as staff is saying, 50,000 works for us to be efficient, but also ensure that large dollar items come back to council for consideration is a simple but easy way to become more efficient as a whole. And let's not muddy the waters.
All right, Councilor Harris.
Thank you. Is there a process now where we are informed of grants in progress at any stage? Grants to be considered, grants that are...
Only when they come to you requesting to apply for grants. That's when you would know.
Which in this case, under 50,000, we wouldn't know about?
No, so some of these, they actually apply first, and then when they're being accepted, that's when they come with council action to accept the grant. So that's the part that would be missing for these smaller grants, is the acceptance of the grant. But by providing you an information-only list of grants that we've accepted, that would be the transparency that if you would want to see those, we could do that.
Yeah, I still stand on my point that, as Councilmember DuPont mentioned, I think we're in the way more when we have to get a resolution to even apply, rather than get an information item that says this is what we're applying for, that we can stop at any time, or we can weigh in against, but we're not delaying the start of the clock on these grant items for us to approve a resolution. That's my thoughts.
Okay. Additional thoughts or a motion? Councilmember Jean.
On that point from Councilmember Harris, I think, again, it's more important to have community input, and whether or not, for example, as you're mentioning, if we have to come to council, get a resolution, and it takes time away from the money that we could spend and implement, I think it's actually more useful that we get resolution from council first to see whether or not we, as a community, want to invest time and resources to applying for the specific grants. And so I actually see benefit in it in terms of having it come to council and hearing community input prior to just applying for everything. But I do agree that there are grants where we do receive money regularly. And similar to J2, the cap there is $39,000, and the cap that we're talking here is 50 grand. I'm amendable to a lower number, but as of right now, I'm just not fond of 50 grand covering everything.
All right, Councilmember DuPont.
Venus or Scott, in the grant process, how often is it that council has discretion on where we use the grant funding?
Well, it's usually mandated by the grant itself, right? So it would just be if there was 5 different ways to use it and a department said we want to use it this way, you could potentially say, well, we want you to use it in this other way, but as long as it's allowable by the grant. So, but most of the time, it's a grant that you have to use in a very specific way.
Thank you.
All right. Additional thoughts? Good discussion. So for Councilmember Smith.
Yeah, good discussion. I mean, as we sometimes do, we start dancing on the head of a pin. I think we should focus on cost benefit. The biggest complaint I hear up here, including from me, is sometimes the pace at which the city moves. And we're talking about $50,000 or less so that our staff can be a little more nimble and not spend as much time on these things while they work on projects that are 6, 7 figures that bring an investment to the community that's much more than 50 grand. If there's a sentiment to make it 39,000 like the contract policy, I'd be fine with that. But I think this is something our staff has asked for to make their jobs a little bit easier, more efficient. We should support them. And we can always reconsider in 6 to 12 months if we want to. So.
No, I think you make a good point. The city manager or the what staff allowed to contract with and spend without council approval it's a good guideline too, I think. And if you go too big, then there's lack of transparency, as was mentioned, and then also you have the potential to let staff maybe it do too much when it needs to, things need to come through council. But again, that's anywhere in that 40 to 50 range, I think, is reasonable.
So what if we approve the policy while reducing the limit to 39,000 and requiring that there be an information-only accounting of any grants, both greenlit for composition and also accepted?
Okay.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Is there a second?
Why not?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Smith and a second by Councilmember DuPont. The motion will include the adoption of Resolution 2025-59, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Merced, California, adopting the grant policy. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, and the motion passes with Councilmember Zhang and Councilmember Harris voting no.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Councilmember Zhang, to agenda item J10, our school flashing beacons. So J10, I think we've, J10.
So I want to highlight a few things off of here. So we did a very similar project last year with pedestrian signals as well around schools. But from this year's list of locations, several of those locations are not necessarily near a school. I was wondering how come that is the case this time around?
We have two types of projects. One is replacing the school beacons, the flashing lights, and the other is replacing the push buttons for like the ADA ramp. So two different. The ones that we replaced in at the school flashing beacons are located near schools.
Okay, and then for the pedestrian signal ones, the one we push.
The push buttons, that's around the city.
Okay.
We are replacing those because the standard has changed and it has to be more ADA compliant. So there's more tactile, vibrating push arrows where you can read or feel them if you have if you're impaired hearing and sight impaired. So that's why we're changing those there.
Okay, thank you. For these 15 locations, are these all that we have throughout the city?
That's phase one, part of the phasing through the city as budget allows.
Okay, and then was there community input on where these 15 locations are relative to phase one?
I don't believe there was. I mean,
okay.
Eventually we need to replace all of them, so getting community input as to which ones get phased first, second, third, last. I'm not too sure how much good that gets us, but we have to replace them all.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any questions. I'll open up to the rest of council, see if they have any questions.
All right, thank you, Councilor Jean. Councilor Dupont.
If I understand correctly, this project includes the 15 lists stated, but as a separate project, there's 26 school flashing beacons near 11 schools that will be another project as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Additional questions for our Director of Public Works or discussion, comments, or a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All right, Jennifer, 1 sec. Councilor Jean. We have a motion and a second, Boyle Dupont, and we have a comment from Councilor Jean.
Yeah, so the reason I pull this is because I have concerns with the 15 location, of which none of them are south of 16th Street. So I'm not fond of not having any of them south. I understand that south of 16, there's not that many traffic lights in terms of pedestrian walkways and signals, but I don't think it's equitable if we just put all 15, or phase one, have all 15 location north of 16th Street. And so that's why I'm not fond of this, and I think it's important to have community input on where these locations are. Yeah.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Boyle.
Do you mentioned this is phase one. Do you have a timeline of when the rest of the intersections will be getting this replaced?
We'll try to do it every budget season. I mean, so we'll cycle through them each budget season. And we probably have replaced them. I don't have the exact number of what we've replaced so far. I can get that information back to you guys. So I just don't have it right now. Sorry.
No worries. Thank you.
Ken, do you have a response to Councilor Jean's point that there's not enough south of 16th Street?
Like I just mentioned before, I think we probably have started some of it already in the past. I just don't have the entire list before me right now, but I can bring that to you if we've done that. And I'm sure it's not a matter of south or north. It's just progressing through the city as we go.
Thanks, sir. City Manager McBride.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember and I spoke before the meeting, and he did some due diligence. He realized that we had a very similar item last year, about the same number of locations, same vendor. So he's aware we did a project last year. So this has been an ongoing commitment. We're not changing that commitment going forward. So we'll find out what we did last year, and we'll keep the council and community informed on what we plan to do. So it is a phased project. As Director pointed out, we've got a lot of work we have to do. Everyone feels like their street or their signal is the most important one, and it probably is to them, but we have a lot we have to get done. And so we'll share what we need to get done, what we did last year, and keep you guys best informed as we can.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. All right, pending any additional comments or questions, We will call for the question. Jen.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Boyle and a second by Councilmember DuPont. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, the motion passes with Councilmember Zhang voting no.
Thank you, Jennifer. Takes us to the last of our consent items. This is J15, the Office of Traffic Safety Grant for DUI Enforcement. Councilmember Zhang, your request to have it pulled.
Yeah, I wanted a separate consideration on this. I think I speak on this almost every year that this item comes up. I think we could do more as a city rather than just having DUI checkpoints, saturated patrol, and so forth as proposed for this grant. I think if the goal is to reduce DUI collisions, DUI deaths, injuries, and so forth, I think providing services in terms of if you have somebody that needs a ride, I think that's better use of the money. And so I disagree with being punitive in this case, and let's try a new approach.
Okay. Additional questions, comments, or a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember DuPont and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Boyle. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, and the motion passes with Councilmember Zhang voting no.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. On our public hearings.
Okay, agenda item K, public hearings. K1, public hearing, general plan amendment number 24-03, zone change number 435, establishment of residential plan development number 83, investing tentative subdivision map number 1333, initiated by Lennar Homes of California on behalf of Merced Gateway LLC property owners. The subject site is located at 3345, 3351, and 3610 East Girard Avenue at the southwest corner of Campus Parkway and East Girard Avenue. The general plan amendment would change the general plan land use designation for approximately 73.7 acres from general plan land use designation for approximately 73.7 acres from manufacturing, industrial, and business park to approximately 40.25 acres of low, medium residential, approximately 22.65 acres of high, medium density residential, and approximately 9 acres to remain business park. The zone change would allow the establishment of residential plan development number 83 to change the land use from business park to residential and establish development standards for this development. The vesting tentative subdivision map would subdivide approximately 73.7 acres into approximately 570 residential lots, 2 open space / park areas totaling approximately 3 acres, and 2 lots designated business park totaling approximately 9 acres for future development.
That's well done. Larry, before you start, Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So not that long ago, in fact, the applicant became a client of my law firm. And so I have no choice but to recuse myself, unfortunately, and I wish you all a successful item.
Thank you, and good evening. I am Valeria Renteria, Associate Planner here at the City of Merced. The project I have before you today, as previously mentioned, is General Plan Amendment number 2403, Residential Plan Development Establishment number 83, Vesting Tentative Subdivision Map number 1333, Zone Change number 435, and Environmental Review Checklist number 2430. This is for a development of 570 residential lots with commercial and park areas located at the southwest corner of East Girard Avenue and Campus Parkway in the southwest quadrant of the city. This project was presented to the Planning Commission on July 9th, 2025, where the Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval to the City Council. Here is a map of the project site. As mentioned previously, it is located at the southwest corner of East Girard Avenue and Campus Parkway. The site is approximately 73.7 acres with agricultural uses to the east, south, and some to the west, some commercial to the west, and single-family residential to the north. Here you can see the existing and proposed land uses and general plan designations. To the left of the screen is the existing general plan designations. The purple displays the existing business park and an area of industrial in blue. To the right, you can see the proposed general plan designations, low, medium density in orange, high, medium density in brown. The two sections in purple would stay business park. This is the proposed vesting tentative subdivision map. 61 of the 73.7 acres would be subdivided into 570 residential lots, and 9 acres would stay business park to accommodate future commercial development. If you divide the map into two sections, north and south of Campus Parkway, north of Campus Parkway would accommodate 328 lots that would range in sizes from 2,800 to 6,889 square feet. There would also be a 2.4 acres of park area towards the northeast corner, and 4.35 acres of the 9 acres proposed would be in the southwest corner of this section. South of Campus Parkway would accommodate 242 residential lots, ranging in sizes 2,375 square feet to 5,835 square feet. This section would have an approximately 0.6 acres of park area and another 4.65 acres of commercial towards the west corner of this section. These are some of the proposed elevations for the homes. The colored elevations are some of the options that would be available for the larger lots north of Campus Parkway, and the black and white is an elevation option for the smaller lots south of Campus Parkway. This proposal also includes a parking plan, since the lot widths will limit the amount of street parking available for the southern portion of the subdivision. Each lot would provide parking for 2 cars, one in the garage and another in the driveway. 1 street parking space would be available between every other lot. This image also shows how the parking will look like and displays the space for fire hydrants, streetlights, and trash bins. After opening the public comment period, council may approve, modify, or deny a resolution adopting environmental review number 2430 and general plan amendment number 2403, an ordinance approving zone change number 435 and establishment of residential plan development number 83, and legislative action agreement. This now concludes my presentation. I am available for any questions. The applicant is also here if you have any questions for them.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Councilor Dupont.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Valerie, for the presentation. If you could go back to slide number 4 real quick. I just want to double check. Oh, go right there. So previously it was just discussed that the industrial portion and the existing use was going to be a park. In the proposed use and the proposed site plan, there are 2 parks that are planned, one in the north section and one in the south section, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, just want to ensure we still have park space for our community. Thank you. No further questions at this point.
Okay, additional questions? Councilor Jean.
Are there any proposed affordable units as part of this development?
Not at this time.
Thank you.
Okay, additional questions? Councilor Dupont.
You may not have this question, but as to affordability, does the design of the south side create an ability to market affordability?
I would say so.
Affordable by design.
Correct.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Valeria, was there any discussion of other forms of housing as well, potentially higher density? I mean, it's given the proximity to the shopping center. Was there any consideration of, more of a sort of a density cluster around the shopping areas?
Not throughout the process of the general plan
Okay.
amendment.
Any additional questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. Jennifer, do we have any requests to speak from the public?
We have two, Mayor, one from Bill Lyons and one from Timothy Jones.
Okay.
Is Mr. Lyons the applicant?
We'll ask him. Billy, the applicant.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. I'm here tonight to voice our family's support for the rezoning application before you. My name is Bill Lyons, and our family has been doing business in Merced for approximately 65 years. Our family owns the property across the street from the proposed rezone. Merced, like so many communities in the valley, is facing a real housing challenge. Families are finding it increasingly difficult to stay in Merced, and young people who grow up in the area often have to leave to find affordable homes and jobs. This project helps change that by adding much-needed housing and jobs right here in our own community. The location at Girard and Campus Parkway makes sense for growth. It's directly connected to major transportation corridors, close to schools and services, and aligns with the vision outlined in the city's general plan. By directing new growth to this area, it will create a more connected and balanced Merced. Beyond housing, this project also means real economic benefits. The construction phase is expected to generate significant local job opportunities and economic activity. And once the homes are built, they will contribute to the property tax base and help support vital city services such as police, fire, and parks. It will stimulate commercial and business development, which will increase sales revenue to the city. That's money that goes back into our community. I would like to point out the significance of the project for South Merced. For a long time, most of Merced's growth has happened to the north. This rezoning represents a significant investment in South Merced, bringing new homes, jobs, and business opportunities to a part of the city that deserves more attention and reinvestment. This is responsible, well-planned growth that brings housing, jobs, and investment to Merced. This project isn't just about houses. It's about building a future where Merced families can live, work, and grow. This project has our family's full support. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Timothy Jones. I'm the owner of Merced Gateway LLC. Lennar came to us with this plan, and we enthusiastically support it. I'm not sure I could say anything better than Bill Lyons in terms of what this is about and what it will do and the stimulation it will have in the area, making the commercial properties that much more vibrant. So I'm here to thank staff, thank Scott McBride and the entire Merced group of planners. They were great to work with and really helped us move this along. So thanks to them. Appreciate your consideration. I'm here to answer any questions if you'd like, or if you have any of me as the property owner. And I know Lennar has representatives here, both their engineers and their in-house folks that can answer any questions should you have any of them. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Jennifer, additional public comments.
I do have one more from Andrea Blon.
Hello, thank you for taking the time to hear us. My name is Andrea Blaine with Lennar, and I'm working on the entitlements on this project. I just wanted to say thank you to city staff and the planning staff for working so hard with us and pushing this project through. If you guys have any questions, we're happy to answer.
Thank you. All right, anyone else?
That's all we have, Mayor.
All right. Any questions from, the public hearing still open, any questions for any of the speakers or applicants? Well, Councilmember Dupont.
Mr. Jones, if I could, I know Plime Drive right now is non-existent. Do we have plans to construct Plime Drive with this project?
Yes, Plime Drive would be constructed both ways, both to the north and to the south, and there'll be a four-way light at Plime Drive and Campus Parkway.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Thanks, sir. All right. I had a question, same question I asked earlier. I'm not sure who best would be the one to talk about it, but potential consideration, was there any consideration done of higher density housing? Given the proximity to the freeway, given the proximity to shopping center, was that considered to be a good idea? Is that, did anybody consider that? I certainly think the zone change to housing is a very, very positive thing, but your evaluation of that?
I can tell you that I worked with Lennar, and we actually have a very large project Lennar is working with us on, and they looked at the land plan, they looked at what they could do, and, you know, density helps economics, and I think they did the density that would work. They wanted to keep, you know, as it got closer to the houses that are already there to the north, they wanted the density to be lower, which you can see in the plan. That's the way it lines up, and then more intense as it comes away. But I think they maximized it given the parking, you know, given the accessibility and given everything else at the site. I do think they considered all of that in coming up with the land plan.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can I see the same question, Andrea? Housing, big, huge topic all over California. Want to?
When selecting our product lines, we chose high medium density for the lower section. With all the restraints of the parking situations and things that go along with the higher density, we selected the lower section for that.
Okay. And any, the consideration, I think Mr. Jones made a lot of points earlier, but the consideration of density and why is this considered the ideal density as opposed to potentially higher density or even lower density?
Rabbi Mikadichi from Lennar is coming to answer that.
Hello, my name is Rabbi Mekidash. I worked on the due diligence and acquisition of this project. On the southern side, for us, Lennar, we don't do multifamily, so this is our kind of highest density we can use, and we consider other factors, parking, also our directs, how to build homes, and we wanted to provide also a park, so we kind of provide a space for the park. But that's our highest density that we can go, and that's why we didn't want to do it on the north side, as Tim explained. We wanted to have a buffer from bigger lots and going down, and then we start. If you can see the other map, we'll show you the bigger lots, and then we go medium, and then we go to the smallest ones to the south.
Okay. Thanks, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, additional questions? Okay, seeing any additional questions, we'll close the public hearing. If not. Okay, no additional questions from council. We'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council for discussion. Councilmember Dupont.
Thank you, Mayor. One, as the District 1 representative, man, Southeast Merced is growing. And this is exciting times for not only Southeast Merced, but the growth of the city of Merced. Campus Parkway is showing what we all thought Campus Parkway would do, and that is to create opportunity. I mean, I live just a little north along Childs behind Weaver, and you see all the single family houses that are going in and that are being sold pretty much simultaneously. So the market analysis is, I think, appropriate for the area, ownership driven, looking for long-term residents of the city of Merced. And this proposed development is a lot of what the city of Merced should look like and hope to be for the future, which is a planned development with a business park in it. It allows for walkable communities. And hopefully we'll see more growth and more movement on Campus Parkway. But it's very exciting. It creates opportunity. And as the UC grows, as the city of Merced grows, I want to thank the city staff. I want to thank Mr. Jones and everyone involved in Lennar for investing in Merced. And we're just starting. And I hope to see the great growth of District 1 and Southeast Merced. We've seen it in the past year, and I'd like to continue that growth. So thank you for everyone involved.
Additional comments? Mayor Pro Tem Boyle.
Yeah, so very in supportive of this project. One thing that I will note on is myself and Councilmember Smith attended ICSC in Monterey. And one of the things that was talked to me, and I think it was the retail coach that I spoke with, and he was there. And one thing about this area is there are homes there, but a lot of retailers want to see more homes. And so approving this project would allow potentially more retailers to come to Merced, which is something so many of our residents want to see, and this is the perfect area for it. So I'm excited to see this. I can't wait for Frank and the ECDev staff to go to the next ICSC and say, look, our council approved this. This is what's coming. You know, come to Merced. So I look at this as a full picture moment for us, and I'm excited for it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Councilor Jones.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with development in the south side, right, southeast side. I think it's great to see business park incorporated into residential zoning. I think as Councilmember DuPont mentioned, that creates walkable, bikeable neighborhoods, and that's something that we do really need going forward. My concern is that we are not incorporating mixed income. All right, we are creating mixed use neighborhoods, but not necessarily mixed income neighborhoods. I think it's important to incorporate or develop affordable units concurrently with market rate housing. If we look at the housing that are affordable by design off of M and Cardella, they're market rate at this point, right? If there's no de-restriction limiting these units to become affordable units for 50 years, they're not going to stay affordable. All right, so I think it's important that when we build homes, we include affordable units at the same time.
Councilor DuPont.
Thank you. Well, you know, I may agree to some extent. A lot of the rhetoric that has come from the seat was there should be less affordable housing in South Merced and we should look to North Merced. So I will say this is that there are affordable housing projects in South Merced. There are affordable housing projects in District 1, and they're coming online and being built and groundbreakings as we speak. So there is mixed use throughout Southeast Merced. So I wouldn't just look at a fine scope of one project and say there's no affordable housing projects in Southeast Merced or South Merced, because that's just not true.
Councilor Jones.
So again, affordable by design isn't affordable units, right? They're not de-restricted. You're essentially saying, hey, you live in a smaller place, yeah, you pay less, but that's not the same as having affordable units. When I say specifically, or anybody, right, talk about needing to build more affordable units up north, it's because the north side has been developing and not building affordable units concurrently. That's it, right? It should always be big. Affordable units should always be built concurrent with market rate housing. And so whenever I say, yeah, we need to build more up north for affordable housing, it's because we haven't been doing that, right? It doesn't mean that now we just say none of it in South Merced.
All right. Okay, additional discussion. or a motion? I'm in support. Okay. It's a really good project. This is a big deal. This is 570 lots. This is a lot of housing. I think really important that we strike a lot of right balances here. Really important. This is a well-done community, so we're putting a lot of faith in you guys. It's a huge opportunity, a big deal for not just the southeast part of Merced, not just District 1, but all of Merced. 570 lots is a lot of opportunities at home ownership. City of Merced is actually one of the few areas in the country over the last 15 years it's actually increased its rate of home ownership. So this certainly will not hurt in any way. This will definitely help. And I think it's definitely a good project. Very excited about the transition from business park to housing. I think it's a smart rezone. Allows us to be flexible and to address a very important need. So, all right, with that.
That was a motion from Councilmember Harris.
I think I interrupted him when he got a little bit through. Valeria, was there anything else you wanted to say, or therefore you forgot your pen or something?
Switch the slide.
Oh. Okay, discussion, or is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Harris and a second by Councilmember DuPont. The motion will include the adoption of Resolution 2025-60, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Merced, California, number 24-30, mitigated negative declaration for General Plan Amendment number 24-03 for approximately 61.7 acres of land generally located on the southwest corner of East Girard Avenue and Campus Parkway, and approving General Plan Amendment number 24-03 for the same property, changing the general plan designation from business park and manufacturing/industrial to business park, low medium density residential, high medium density, and the introduction of ordinance 2581, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Merced, California, approving zone change number 435 and establishment residential planned development number 83, changing the land use designation from business park to residential for 61.7 acres for approximate 73.7 acre parcel generally located on the southwest corner of East Girard Avenue and Campus Parkway. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, and the motion passes with Councilmember Zhang voting no and Councilmember Smith recusing himself.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. We'll invite Councilmember Smith back in, take us to our action items.
Okay, agenda item L, action items. L1, approval of a memorandum of agreement between the City of Merced Police Department and the University of California Merced Police Department.
Thank you, Jennifer. Chief, is this your item?
Good evening, Council. Mayor, before you tonight is an MOA, a Memorandum of Agreement between ourselves and the University of Merced Police Department. When we annexed the university campus, we felt it was important for us to get with the administration of the police department there and distinguish an agreement between the police department that maintains all the property out at UC Merced, as well as the Merced Police Department, who now that campus falls under our jurisdiction under the city. We wanted to make sure that we didn't have any jurisdictional boundary issues, and understanding that any crime that is committed at the university campus will be handled by the university campus police. And in turn, anything outside of the campus property would be the responsibility of the Merced Police Department. Chief Herr and I have worked diligently with our two attorney firms on both sides with the assistance of our City Attorney Craig Cornwell. Thank you so much, sir, for your assistance on this. We presented an agreement to you today, which is a no-cost sharing agreement. It's just an understanding agreement between what responsibility UC Merced PD would handle versus the Merced Police Department and our jurisdictional boundaries of responsibility. It's also important to note that now that UC Merced is within the city limits, should an incident occur on the campus that would require assistance outside of the scope of their university police staff, we are the secondary responding police units, and our services are available previously.
Council, please cast your votes. Okay, and the motion passes with Councilmember Zhang absent.
All right, L2.
Okay, agenda item L2, approving an amended memorandum of understanding between the City of Merced and the Merced Union High School District, and rescinding prior council action approving the previous memorandum of understanding for fiscal years 25 through 28.
Chief.
Thank you, Council. This is my last one of the night, I hope. But Previously, you approved our MOU, a 3-year agreement with our high school district, a wonderful partner to Merced Police Department. We're happy to provide school resource officers to our 4 campuses here. We had requested a vehicle usage reimbursement fee to help us with the cost and the rising costs of our fleet replacements. And we had an agreement with them to reimburse us for the cost of a marked police unit. I'm happy to report that as of now, I think all of our high schools, with maybe the exception of 1, have a marked police unit assigned to them. So anybody driving by understands that this facility and this campus is being guarded by the Merced Police Department. The high school district agreed to reimburse us the cost of one of the vehicles just to help offset some of the cost. But the way the original wording was, it was kind of ambiguous, and we wanted to clear it up. We weren't asking them to buy a vehicle that at the end of the contract is just an asset that they bought and owned. What we were asking for was a vehicle usage fee. So we're bringing it back to you for cleanup language. This is just a cleanup of the original contract that you've already seen before you to replace the wording to say a vehicle usage fee, and the high school district has agreed to make, I believe it's monthly payments to reimburse us for the use of our vehicles and our equipment, our maintenance, et cetera, et cetera. And the contract is just a cleanup, really.
All right, questions for our police chief? Okay, Jennifer, anything from the public?
Nothing on this item.
All right, back to council for further discussion and or a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Geez, I think Boyle got him.
I have a motion by Councilmember DuPont and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Boyle. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, the motion passes with Councilmember Zhang absent.
Okay.
Okay, agenda item L3, approval of a contract with California Public Policy Group for legislative advocacy, consulting, and grant seeking and writing services.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jennifer Flackman, Senior Management Analyst. This evening, staff is recommending approval of a contract with California Public Policy Group, CPPG, for legislative advocacy and grant writing services. CPPG was selected through a competitive RFP process. Out of 5 proposals received, CPPG ranked #1 overall. The firm has a tailored local approach, Central Valley expertise, and a proven track record supporting Merced. They have a high success rate advancing or protecting city positions on legislation through timely position letters and direct advocacy with our representatives. This includes AB 1259 SORIA, authorizing Merced to form an enhanced infrastructure financing district, revision of AB 98, Carrillo and Reyes, pivotal for Merced due to implications for land use and economic development. Their grant services team has worked with the city to submit $16.2 million in grant applications. The firm has worked with us in the development of the legislative platform, which aligns with your council goals and priorities. They have strong bipartisan relationships in Sacramento and expertise representing communities like ours. Proven success advancing high-speed rail and transit-oriented development priorities. Ongoing FAA engagement supporting funding for our new airport terminal. Approving the contract allows us to build on that success and keep Merced's priorities front and center. And a few bullet points about grant writing services. So we are in a complex, competitive grant environment. The state and federal funding landscape is shifting. Fewer discretionary dollars and tighter competition mean Merced needs an expert to navigate to stay ahead. CPPG continuously tracks hundreds of programs and policy shifts, including changes under the state budget, the bipartisan infrastructure law, and Proposition 4's climate bond. Their insights allow Merced to target viable, timely opportunities rather than react after deadlines. With major opportunities emerging in infrastructure, climate resilience, water system, public safety, CPPG helps identify, prioritize, and package projects that align with the latest federal and state priority, which increases competitiveness. Their up-to-date intelligence ensures Merced can pivot quickly when programs change or new funding windows open. Maintaining CPPG's partnership ensures continuity, quality submissions, and stronger positioning for multi-million-dollar awards. The next 12 to 18 months are pivotal, with multiple high-value grant cycles closing in late 2025 and early 2026. Keeping CPPG engagement ensures Merced doesn't miss these key windows. And I'm available for questions.
Questions for our Public Information Officer? Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for a presentation, Jennifer. A couple of questions. The grant writers are located in Sacramento, is that correct?
Correct.
How often do we see them down in Merced?
We see them down in Merced when we need them to come down. So they will be here when we update our legislative platform. With regard to grant writing, they're virtual with us monthly and sometimes bi-weekly.
And are they the same people? Is there one person in charge? Is it passed on between different people?
So there is one person that leads the grant writing team, and then they have subject matter experts in different areas.
And if I recall correctly, you said $16.2 million has been applied for?
Correct.
How many grants have been awarded?
There have been, I think it's, I didn't write that on my sheet, but I know that. There have been 4.1 million secured through state budget allocation and competitive grant awards. And there's 5.5 in additional funding outstanding. So of the 16.2, there are some times when grants get canceled. So with the administration's policy shifting, so some grants get taken off, but.
And for reimbursement, is that just a flat rate that they make a month on this or annually? Or do they get any kind of reward for successful grants?
No, they have a flat monthly fee.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Additional questions? Councilor DuPont.
Do you know what that flat monthly fee is?
$3,500 a month.
So about 40, off the cuff, 42,000 annually?
Yes.
Just for the grant writing
Correct.
portion? Thank you.
City Manager McBride.
Thank you, Mayor. We've had a nice relationship with this group. It didn't start out as a focus of grant writing. That was not really what our intent was with working with them. They were hired to be ledge advocates for us. And so through our relationship, we just discussed some of the needs and came out and said, hey, like that's additional service that we have available. And so we amended our contract midway through the year and added it. And it's about a third or so of the actual contract. And so on page 38 of 43 of the contract, it's broken down in the scope of work. And you're correct, it's $35,000. The base for them for the other activities is $6,000 a month. So it's $114,000 a year. And the grant writing is about $42,000 a year. So I guess if there's a lot of concern about the grant writing, we can go back and try to renegotiate that and see if we could pull it out as a service. As Jennifer mentioned, you're not just paying for one person, you're paying for a team to do work. And we do have a team that we've kind of developed internally to kind of cooperate and work with them. You're getting a lot of different areas of expertise with their team. It's a difficult time. Like grants are hard to get, but it doesn't mean that we haven't worked successfully to get the applications in. But I just want to make sure that we focus here that we did a process this time. We did an RFP. It was ledge focused with grants as an option. Grants was part of the services we're looking for. And so we tried to focus on the ones we felt met the best of both criteria. And that's why we brought it for you tonight. We felt that this one, this firm did the best of both worlds, but they do both services for us. So to make sure we're clear on that.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things. First, let me apologize again for confusing CSG with CPPG. Probably should have read a little further.
Your acronyms.
Second, I fully support the legislative aspect of this contract. I think they do a good job for us there. It's a necessary job. But I am in support of our own internal dedicated grant writer. I think it's a position that historically in other places has paid for itself over and over again. We have somebody that we can not meet virtually with weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, but we can go down the hall and speak with any time. A number of cities that I know are very successful with their own grant writers. And it is something that, we can tie to performance goals and are not locked into forever if it's not working. So I would advocate for that approach versus this one.
All right. Jennifer, do we have anything from the public on the side?
Not for this item, Mayor.
All right. Mike, you said Ms. Flackman came ready for battle on this one, and she had some good counterpoints for you.
I will add that they provide a monthly catalog that is very comprehensive in all grants, state and federal, that are available when the NOFOs go out so that we can connect with departments to review capacity and capability.
Councilmember DuPont, is that a new request to speak? Councilmember DuPont and then Councilmember Smith after that.
Thank you, Mayor. Looking at the fee proposal, $42,000 annually with someone that is kind of dedicated to Merced, and then also have others that have specific subject matter jurisdiction and knowledge is really valuable. And that's just sometimes hard to find in one individual. I mean, we have limitations, and to have that subject matter information on Parks and Rec, public safety, public works, it's really hard to find. So I think that's a valuable tool, and being able to use multiple people for $42,000 in grant writing that I think would be very difficult for us to find in a single individual, and then also find the funding to fund that salary position, probably not at $42,000 as well. So while I understand the point, Councilmember Harris, I think it's a fair assessment of what CPPG is doing and providing. And I don't think we can't be critical of CPPG in grant writing and development services. There's an ability for us to say, hey, I don't think you're meeting your level of service in this grant writing. So I think it's a fair fee proposal.
Okay, Councilor Smith.
Thank you. So two things. One, I think it's important to note that Mr. Hutching and Ms. Gonzalez, who are leaders of CPPG, have been here quite a bit. They were in the room with our team when we met with High Speed Rail a few weeks back and stared them down and made sure that they understood where we were coming from when we said we were wanting to partner but not pleased. So they've been in battle with us shoulder to shoulder. I don't feel like, in my experience with CPPG, that the 2-hour drive from Sacramento has really been a barrier. And also to Councilmember DuPont's point, I've said this in a lot of different contexts, and I think this is another one. City of Merced and our council and our city hall staff, we're kind of in a moment in our history where the number of complexity of problems coming at us is greater than our current capacity to handle it. And so if there is a way that we can find an outside team with expertise that we maybe don't have, it might be great if we have it for a city of 500,000 people, but we're not. But we still need the expertise. So I think this is a good way to bring that experience in-house and work with our team who's comfortable with them. And I'll just note, despite what I said about my familiarity with their group, they came out on top in a competitive bidding process. So for all those reasons, I think we should support this contract.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think just, I mean, in general, sometimes it makes more sense to do things in-house, sometimes it makes more sense to contract out, and that depends on a lot of factors. And we'll go back to you, Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. One final point before I'm voted down. I think our subject matter experts are in-house. I don't think we need Sacramento subject experts. When we were looking for a grant and how it applies to the city of Merced, the first people we should turn to are the subject matters of the city of Merced. If it involves a grant for police, I'm going to the chief. If it involves for fire, I'm going to that other chief, and so on and so forth. You know, if it's something for Parks and Recs, we want our Parks and Rec director. And if you don't take the swings, you don't get the hits. There's my, as my Yankees are dying, there's my sports analogy for you.
Mayor and Council, we do have Sharon Gonzalez with CPPG on the line.
Okay. Sharon, if there's anything you want to add, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Really appreciate the opportunity to chime in. And I do think that Ms. Blackman did a pretty good job of highlighting what it is that we do and what the benefits are. I did just want to turn to the topic of subject matter experts. And yes, I completely agree that members of staff are subject matter experts in terms of what the city needs. I think what we provide is what is it that the state is looking for. If it's a CAL FIRE program, if it's a DOJ program, if it's the Department of Parks and Rec, whoever's administrating the program, we're in those pre-session meetings. We, in a lot of times, have worked on the legislation that created the programs, so understanding more of the political side of it and what the administration's goals are in order to help make see that the city is putting together the most competitive application possible.
Okay. Thank you, Sharon. All right, if anybody has any questions for Ms. Gonsalves, certainly able to ask her those questions if you like. Councilmember Hare, and then Councilmember Jean, your turn. And then Councilmember Smith after that.
I just want to echo Councilmember Harris. I think it's important to have in-house like expertise, right? Or not just that, but development, right? I think it's important to invest in the development of our own staff. I think it's great to have consultants, contractors, and so forth. But at the end of the day, I think we should build up that institutional knowledge within our own staff. And I'm not saying that that's not happening, but I would like to see it happen more so, right? If we look at our city attorney, right, we used to have as a contractor out, and now Craig's come in, he's building up our legal department. And so I think that's a great example of what I believe Councilmember Harris is going for here, is that we need to develop it in-house and grow, right? We don't want to simply rely on outside consulting services. But that's my 2 cents.
Craig said he didn't expect to be part of this discussion of this item, but he appreciates the kind words as well. Doing a good job. Councilor Smith.
I'd say it's hard not to get excited about Mr. Harris's point of view, and I agree. I mean, there's nobody I defer to more than our staff. But I mean, again, I'll just echo what I said before. We're not a city of 500,000 people with a massive staff. We've got a small and light team that's being called upon to do amazing and difficult things every single day. And, you know, I guess I disagree. I want our chiefs and our department heads to be our chiefs and our department heads. And so we've got a group of people who have the expertise on writing these grants, on positioning them for success. I don't look at it as to take the pen away from our chiefs and our directors, but so that those people can be successful for us. And it would be great if we had massive amounts of money and space to hire all kinds of people. Heck, how much easier would our jobs be if we had a communication budget and a policy director like they do in Fresno? We don't. We're not there yet. So I think we need to make smart choices with the resources we have, and this is a smart choice.
You got to just add one point too real quick. It's very, very helpful, I think, for everybody to have people plugged into Sacramento, as especially someone as plugged into Sharon is. You know, I think we can call on them for their expertise, them being in the Capitol, them, you know, having the pulse up there is really important. Councilmember Harris. That a new one?
It's a new one. Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Smith is right. We don't have a population of 500,000 people, but we do have a population of 100,000, and it would seem to me to be a prudent idea to look at other cities with that type of population and find out what are they doing in the grant writing world. Do they have their own? Have they decided that they contract out? What's their budget for it? How many grants do they apply for? What do they get? And do some type of independent research before we go down this road.
Mayor Pro Tem Boyle.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted some clarification in the terms. So this would, if approved, it would go through September 30th, 2026, and then it can be extended to 2 one-year terms. Does that mean if approved tonight, will we come back here next year and having the same discussion?
No, it's approved for a 1-year annual term with the opportunity to extend for 2 additional 1-year terms.
So it wouldn't have to come back to us next year to extend it?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anybody else talked it to death already, but I think you're doing a great job. We've had a lot of success. We could always do better. I think the city's had a lot of success over the last few years attracting and winning grants in the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. We could always do better. We'll keep trying to do better, but I think what we're doing is good. All right, additional discussion or a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember DuPont and a second by Councilmember Smith. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, and the motion passes with Councilmember Zhang and Harris voting no.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for a good discussion. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
All right, on to L4. Does anybody need a break at this point, or do you want to keep going, plowing through it? Break. We'll take a short break. It is 8:18. We'll come back at 8:25. I will bring the meeting back to order.
It's on the record.
I will call the meeting back to order, and Jennifer, on agenda item L4.
Okay, agenda item L4, land use determination number 25-02, finding of public convenience or necessity for a Vallarta supermarket for alcohol sales for off-site consumption at 851 West Olive Avenue.
Okay, thank you. Valeria, as soon as the chief quiets down, we'll be ready.
Hello again, and good evening. The project before you today is land use determination number 2502 for a finding of public convenience or necessity for a type 21 ABC license for a Vallarta supermarket. This is located at 851 West Olive Avenue, also known as Marketplace at Merced. Here's a map of where the site is located on the north side of West Olive Avenue, approximately 1,200 feet east of R Street. The subject site is outlined in orange, and I've also labeled some of the sensitive uses around the area. There is Merced High School, approximately 2,100 feet to the east, Ferns Park, approximately 2,000 feet northwest, and residential to the north and east of the project site. This next map was provided by Merced Police Department, showing crime hotspots throughout the city. The project site is in an area where crime levels are moderate to high. Here's a list of the type of incidents that have taken place in the last 12 months within 500 feet of the site, mostly incidents within Marketplace and Merced and adjacent businesses. According to the Merced Police Department, the general area had a moderate concentration of incidents between July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. When issuing alcohol licenses, incidents such as illegal sales of narcotics, disturbing the peace, and disorderly conduct are looked at. During the last 12 months, there were 38 disturbances, 3 assaults, 2 public intoxications, 5 violations of the municipal code within 500 feet of the site. This is a proposed floor plan provided by the applicant. Highlighted in orange are the areas where the alcohol would be located and accessible to the customers. These areas are towards the top right corner and the center of the floor plan shown here. There would be a beer and wine cooler towards the left of the floor plan, but that area would not be accessible by the customers. It would be for storage purposes only. After considering all the facts provided and factors that may be considered for determining public convenience or necessity, the City Council may find that the public convenience or necessity would be served by the issuance of a Type 21 ABC license requested. The City Council should authorize the Director of Development Services or designee to draft a letter in support of ABC for the issuance of the said license based on the reasons described in Attachment 5 of the staff report. That concludes my presentation. I am available for any questions that you may have, and the applicant is also here.
Any questions?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Valeria, for your presentation. Could I ask you to go back to the hotspot map? Thank you. Chief, reinforce my memory here. Does this include traffic incidents?
I think if we go back, either back or forward one slide, there's an actual spreadsheet breakdown of all the incidents that it covered. Councilmember Harris, there it is.
That's the 500-foot radius, which doesn't extend out to the street back on all.
Yeah, that hotspot map would not include traffic incidents. That's reported crime. That would be statistical data that the computer generates based on the spreadsheet from the slide previous.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Additional questions? Any requests to speak from the public?
Not for this item, Mayor.
The applicant want to be heard or was just available for questions?
Good evening. My name is Trey Lindell. I'm Director of Real Estate for Vallarta Supermarkets. I just would like to add that we do take a lot of measures on how we operate our stores. We have some standard operating procedures. One is all of our liquor is kept in a locked cabinet at the front of the store, so it requires a team member to physically open the liquor cabinet for customer access. Number two is we do post no loitering signs at our stores and on the exterior of the building, and that's strictly enforced. We do have on-site security in our stores, and we also have a robust CCTV system that's inside our stores and on the outside. And I'd say most importantly, in every community we do business, and we're in 14 counties right now in California, that we have an extremely good and collaborative relationship with the local law enforcement. So, we've gone to great measures through the 40 years we've been in business to, I'd say, systematically and effectively manage our business. Thank you. And I have any other questions you have, I'd be glad to ask.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. All right, questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll, certainly there's more time if any questions come up later. All right, Jennifer, anything else from the public? Nothing.
Nothing, Mayor.
All right, back to council for additional questions and/or discussion. Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me take another swing at the plate here. I have 4 reasons why I want to support this. Not in any particular order. I think we have a history of being business friendly, and I see no good reason to restrict this business at all. I know there are other businesses we've looked at that we would like to have, but they haven't exactly been breaking down our doors to occupy space in this area. A business like this will draw a number of people to the location, creating an effect of additional traffic and additional business for other parts of the mall. Well, I mention a mall, I think there's an inconvenient truth here that we've got to start accepting, and that we don't have a mall. We used to have a mall, but we have a cross now between a mall and a shopping center. And I'm okay with that. That's the way we're going. We're not the Modesto Mall. We're never going to be the Modesto Mall. I think we're going to have a very good mall shopping center. You know, there's a reason why it's not named the Merced Mall anymore. It's not the style that's very popular now, and it's not the style that we're putting into Merced. My last reason is jobs. I think we're probably, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, sir, looking between 50 and 75 jobs. 130. Like I said, 100 jobs. And in Merced, that's big. That's big. We bring in 4 little stores in that space instead of this store, and we're probably looking at 10 jobs, maybe 15. So 100 jobs in the city of Merced is something I think we need to pay very close attention to. It's very important. And I think that while a grocery store is not the first thing you would think of when you look at our redesign, I think it will fit in, and I think it will do well in our community.
Okay, thank you, sir. You might add a few questions. I neglected to ask you if I could. Yeah, sorry, no, it's a long way. It's very rude. First question, if we did, as we did previously with another potential business, deny the ability to sell alcohol in this area, what does it happen to the project? Is it still a viable project? Do you guys move forward? Do you try to find another location?
It wouldn't be a viable project. And I'll tell you why on retail. There's a rule of thumb in retail that if you force a customer to go somewhere else to complete their shopping experience, you've lost them as a customer. They just won't come back. And it puts you at a competitive disadvantage because you have the other supermarkets that do have that you can have a one-stop shopping experience.
Another question is kind of along the lines of what Mike was saying. There's been talk, and just to be blunt, there's been considerable discussion in the community about, grocery store in the mall and why is there a grocery store in the mall? A lot of people would prefer other options. What, in terms of your evaluation, you mentioned a lot of it earlier too with your, the relationship with the police and all the security measures you guys take and the attempting to eliminate loitering and other activities that can concentrate around grocery stores. But, why there and why not other potential options in town?
Yeah, that's a good question. Personally, I'm typically skeptical on malls. They're usually built as super regional malls, which are a destination and don't lend itself too well for a supermarket use. This one's different. There's a lot of rooftops around it. And so it can really be transformed for daily needs services for the community. So this one I'd say is a little more unique than your typical mall. And honestly, it's tough on retailers out there, and there's not a whole lot of them doing deals. And so, you could be wanting for some of these other uses to come in, and you're going to be waiting for a long time. And in the meantime, you're just going to have vacancies. We just opened 2 stores in Modesto, and it really revitalized 2 dead malls. Or they were grocery anchored shopping centers, but it completely revitalized one, and the other one has as well. And so it just that synergy and that what you bring to a project, you can actually build around it. We did look at some other options. Merced's been on our target list for a long time. We love Merced. We want to be here. We looked at options, but because of where competition's laid out, as well as the location of this mall on Olive, this is a good location for us. And we'll do really well here.
Okay. Could you tell us why you think that? I mean, why here? The assessing. What niche do you bring that's a little different? What what evaluating the grocery market in Merced? Where can you tell us about that a little bit?
One, there's nothing in Merced like what we do. And I just alluded to, we opened 2 stores in Modesto, doing extremely well because there's nothing like us there. There's a term called experiential retail, and we do that. And we were doing it before it became a catchphrase. And so you see all of our food, our taqueria, our panaderia, everything's made fresh on site. We make our chips on site. Our tortillas are made on site, guacamole, cut fruit. So it's very immersive. That's why we employ so many people, because we have a lot of people in our departments. And so everything's fresh. And so we bring that, instead of just shelves and groceries, we bring kind of energy and atmosphere to the grocery shopping experience.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Additional questions? Okay, Councilor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's an interesting discussion, sort of as Merced moves on into the 21st century. This hasn't come up a lot in my conversations with residents, but it's funny how many times people ask me, so if you build a supermarket in the mall, how are you going to walk through the mall? And I think Mr. Harris is right. It's becoming a shopping center. It's not a mall. Here's how I look at it. If we're going to have a shopping center, we're going to have a shopping center with a supermarket. The supermarket needs, as the applicant said, for people who walk into a grocery store to have the experience they expect. And to me, this is very different from the liquor store around the block at the old theater building that this council rejected maybe 6 months ago. That was a very ill-defined project that we didn't quite understand. The applicant wasn't here to answer questions, and I think we were right to move on from that one. This one is very different. If people have misgivings about allowing the supermarket to have the tools they need to be successful, I think we have to consider the fact that Merced is growing to the north and to the south. I listened with interest as I recused myself from the discussion earlier. Olive Avenue is sort of becoming where Merced used to be. And we have to be very careful that we equip the Olive Avenue corridor with the tools that it needs to be successful. Otherwise, it's going to become our Ashland or McKinley. And it's already becoming blighted in many, many areas. So I support this application. I think we probably all talked a little bit too much about it in the first place, but I think as we consider projects in the old mall area, we have to really think about what's the alternative for Olive Avenue. And so I welcome VR to Merced, and I hope they're successful.
Additional comments or questions for the applicant? I think you're good for now. We might, no guarantees we won't call you back up, but that's it for now. All right, just further discussion? Everybody got shy real quick.
I'll make a motion to make a finding of a public convenience and approve the item as recommended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Zhang has made a request to speak, so we have a pending motion. Councilmember Smith, second. Councilmember Harris, Councilmember Zhang.
Okay. Sorry, always waiting last minute to see who else is going to talk. So during my time up on council, there's been several requests, right, to sell alcohol. There's one off of R and Loughborough right around the corner for the gas station there. I voted against that. I think that this area is high concentration of alcohol sale already, so I don't think there's a purpose of having another one. Similarly here, I think the same thing. It's right around the corner. I don't think it's appropriate to have another store, in this case, sell alcohol in the area. Overall, I do like the project of having a grocery store in the mall, though. But that being said, I think that there has been lots of conversation from community about a grocery store in South Merced. And I think going forward with any sort of grocery store or selling of alcohol in a grocery store in the mall, I think that's a slap in the face to these community members that have been working for many, many years to have a grocery store in South Merced. And so I disagree with the sale of alcohol here, just as I did with the gas station off of R Street. And I just, again, reiterate, community members have been asking for a grocery store in South Merced. And yet there's one here being proposed right across from Food for Less, right down the block from Food Max, not too far from Safe Mart as well. And so I don't think this is in the best interest of our community.
Councilor DuPont.
Thank you, Mayor. While I agree we need competition in South Merced, as you just saw, we have 600 houses coming in. So Vallarta Markets, we have a business park right next to housing. So it's a possibility. We are not the property owners of Marketplace at Merced. We don't determine, or the property owners of the project we just approved in Southeast Merced. So while I would love to see another grocery store in Southeast Merced and South Merced, we just don't hold the property owner rights to say a grocery store can't go there, but we want it there. So I will continue to advocate for a grocery store in Southeast Merced. It's a growing community, but they're mutually exclusive.
Or any additional comments? Okay, seeing none, Jennifer will call for the question.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Smith and a second by Councilmember Harris. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, and the motion passes with Mayor Pro Tem Boyle, Councilmember Zhang, and Mayor Serrato voting no.
All right, thank you. Thank you for a good discussion, everybody. Congratulations to Vallarta. Looking forward to good times ahead at the Marketplace in Merced.
Okay, agenda item M, business. M1, consider individual city council members' request that the city display commemorative flags at Bob Hart Square per council policy C7 for the 2026 calendar year.
All right. Do we have a staff presentation here, or do we have just start talking?
Mayor, you're more than happy or obliged to start talking, but we did provide for you some information at the dais this afternoon. We provided for background for you the information, including prior year's flags and the months at which they were flown. I know that you all had a chance to review the packet in advance of the meeting, so you know that you've got the updated policy C7. So a little bit different now. You are the ones to provide direction as to what flags you want. And so you provide that information tonight, and then we bring it back to you at the next meeting in October pursuant to your direction.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So again, we'll discuss tonight. We'll come up with a plan, and we'll bring it back for adoption on October the 20th. All right. Councilmember Harris, is that a new request to speak?
It is.
Proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to try to do this in one fluid motion. I was approached to ask for the African-American flag in February by the NAACP. I know we have a application for the Christian flag again that came in. I haven't gotten anything for the Pride flag, but they have been flying for the last 4 years. So I will move to add those three to the schedule. It's the African-American flag for Black History Month in February, the Pride flag for the month of June, and the Christian flag. I'm sorry, I don't remember the dates that were in the request.
March 20th to April 17th.
Thank you.
All right. That is a motion.
As a motion.
Okay, that's a motion for the African-American flag for February, Christian flag for March 20th to April 17, Pride flag from June 1 to June 30. Okay, is there a second to that? All right, I'll second. And this is just adding these three. There could be additional ones added as well too. This isn't everything. Okay. Motion, second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Harris and a second by Mayor Serrato. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, the motion passes with Councilmember DuPont, Zhang, and Smith voting no.
Okay, so we have those three.
And Mayor, we do have a request to speak for him as well.
Okay, we'll move pretty quick. Belinda, go ahead. My fault. Jumped the gun.
Yeah, I mentioned this last time that I feel like our flag poles should just have the U.S. flag and California flag. So I'd like to make a suggestion. How about creating another flagpole to put the special flags on? Then you're doing like a lot of other places that have specialty flags, you know, going down the streets and stuff. It's keeping our U.S. flag and our California flag as special. And I'm not the only one who feels like this, by the way.
Agreed.
So would you take an opportunity? The other thing that I think could be important is you put a flag up, but you don't educate people about what that flag is. So maybe find the money to put another flagpole, let them put their, I'm gonna call it the specialty flag up, and then provide them an opportunity to maybe on a Saturday or Sunday or something to have a table like we used to have the Thursday night things, you know, farmers market and things. Have a place for them to educate us as to why this flag, what it's representing. And it would be, I think, another way to handle it and still keeping our U.S. and California flag representing everyone and allowing those that want to show their special flags and talk about it also. So anyway, that's my suggestion.
Okay, thank you. think addressing one of your points too, the vast majority, pretty close to all of them, the flags, when they're raised, they're accompanied by a flag raising ceremony. And then at that ceremony, there's typically a lot of people who address its importance and talk about it. So I know I've attended a number of them, I think other council members as well. So to your point, I think that's happening a lot already, where whenever they raise the flag, there's usually some sort of ceremony accompanying it, which is meant to celebrate it and to potentially educate the public as well. Councilor Smith, is that a new one, or did I miss something from earlier?
No, it's the first request on this item.
Okay.
So thank you.
Go ahead.
I feel like we got that motion and that vote out of order, but that's perfectly fine. I certainly support these groups, and I don't think that any of our communities need the council to fly a flag for them to feel important and a part of our community. I'm the one who brought this issue forward earlier this year because I felt like, and I think I was proven correct, that the process the council was following for 4 or 5 years was dangerously close to pushing us into litigation. My understanding is that we're still getting cease and desist letters from a group who did not get their flag flown during the time of the past policy. On the other hand, I thought that it was important for the council to maintain this opportunity to fly ceremonial flags, and I still think we made the right decision in amending C7. But on an issue of pure symbolism, I have to listen to my constituents. I've heard from a number of my constituents that they prefer that we only fly the national and the state flags, the POW MIA flag. There was actually a request to fly the City of Merced flag, and I did tell somebody we didn't have one. So on this issue, I would agree. I think people are really fatigued right now in politics at every level. And I'm hearing from my constituents, they prefer that we not fly a flag this time around, to maybe revisit the issue in the future, and so hence my no vote on the prior motion, but I still stand in solidarity with you all in celebrating the African-American flag, the pride flag, and the Christian flag, and the group that brought it forward last year.
Okay, thank you, sir. You might have a chance to vote again, because per our city attorney, because we took public comment later, we'll have to renew the vote. So, Councilor Dubois.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, when this policy was brought up for revision from Councilmember Smith, my position was that we need to get rid of this city commemorative flag policy. So again, that is why I'm voting no, as I think we should have no policy, no ability to flag commemorative flags at this point. And I will continue with that rhetoric and that sentiment.
Thanks, sir. Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. I would be remiss if I didn't go on the record with some thoughts about this, because I don't believe that taking those flags away from the American flag makes the American flag stronger. I think that flying these flags next to the American flag makes the American flag stronger itself. It speaks to the numerous and varied groups that make up our country and make our country strong. And I'm not insecure about the American flag and the California flag, that I think they lose any focus by having specialty flags flying next to them.
Jennifer, anything else for the public? Councilor Jean.
So I share the same sentiment here. I think it's important to celebrate our diversity, right? I think it's important to acknowledge our LGBTQ community here in Merced. I think it's important to acknowledge our African-American community. I voted no because I don't support having the Christian flag flown. I think there needs to be a separation of church and state. And so I don't agree with flying the Christian flag here. But for the other two, I'm in favor of those two.
Okay. And sometimes we have long discussions about things that might seem a little, I don't know. You look at all the discussion we've had over the years, and all for this little sheet right here, right, with about half a page worth of flags flown. But it's a big issue, right? Access to the public square, who gets to speak and be heard in the public square. All right, so the prior motion was invalid because we took public, so we got to redo it. Is that right, Corey? Would you like us to redo
Yes,
it?
Mr. Mayor, if we could, for record-keeping purposes, if we could start with a motion to reconsider from the, a motion from the prevailing side, in light of the fact that the motion was held prior to the audience comment, and we can get in line with the Brown Act on this issue.
Okay.
I'll move to reconsider.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Harris and a second by Mayor Serrato. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, and the motion passes with Mayor Pro Tem Boyle voting no.
Okay. Now the motion.
Motion to approve the flying of the African-American flag for the month of February, for Black History Month, the Pride flag for June, and the Christian flag. Mayor, if you would specify those dates again.
The request is March 20th to April 17th.
March 20th through April 17th.
Yes.
That's my motion.
Is there a second? All right, I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Harris and a second by Mayor Serrato. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, the motion fails.
Okay, fails 3-4. Is there another motion?
A motion to fly the pride flag and the Pan-African flag for the same dates or months that Councilmember Harris specified.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Zhang and a second by Councilmember Harris. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. Okay, and the motion fails.
Okay, motion fails. Is there any other motions?
Move to adjourn this item and move on.
Second.
Okay, I have, 1 second. I have a motion by Councilmember Smith and a second by Councilmember DuPont. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. And the motion passes with Councilmember Zhang and Mayor Serrato voting no.
Takes us on to M2, gentlemen.
Okay, agenda item M2, Councilmember Harris's request to discuss changes to the traffic committee from a committee to a potential council-appointed commission with monthly meetings.
Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the subject of changing the traffic committee that meets bi-monthly with staff as its members to a council-appointed commission meeting monthly that I think would be more responsive to the public's needs and allow us to appoint members of the community to a traffic commission.
Okay. Discussion. So your ask is to essentially end the traffic committee as currently?
Correct.
And then replace it
with a
citizens committee?
commission.
Okay. And currently the traffic committee is composed of it's chaired by, Daryl's gone. City engineer's a chair, representative from the police department, Daryl's right there. With police, fire.
Public Works Planning.
Public Works Planning.
Yep. Okay.
And I would raise the idea of making the police chief and the city engineer ex officio members.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem Boyle.
Thank you. So I appreciate this being brought up. I think there's some other things that maybe we should look at changing about the traffic committee before replacing it with the citizens committee. I don't know if I'm just going to speak for myself, but sometimes it's extremely hard finding representatives for all of our districts where we've gone out multiple times because no one has applied. So I think just going to that directly right now might not be the best route. However, I think changing the times from 2 p.m. to something later in the day, I know it could take away from staff or later staff time, but making it more available to our constituents to attend, like the lady that came earlier and spoke saying how it can be hard to attend these meetings. I think changing the time could make a huge difference, seeing how that plays out. But that was my first recommendation, is probably just changing the meetings altogether and their format. I don't know if they need to be monthly. I don't know if bi-monthly is still working for them. I mean, even just going on the traffic committee website, it still has 2024 dates up. So a lot of things are just not updated as well. And I think that's another issue that we just need to have a better pulse on the situation.
Okay. Councilmember Dupont.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if you know this, Councilmember Harris, or if city manager or city engineer can jump in, but what is the structure currently of the traffic committee?
Meet bi-monthly, city engineer's the chair, Dabney, Dan, you're on? No. It's police, fire, planning, and public works.
Councilmember, I think one of the glaring weaknesses is just the fact that we're lacking some roles and responsibilities. I think that if you wanted to kind of stop a little bit short from, going all the way to having, appointments for public members, we can come up with several recommendations. I think we give you a lot more responsiveness and do a better job for the traffic committee. I think one thing we would start with is getting some roles and responsibilities. I also agree, it's very hard for the public to be involved if you have meetings at 2 p.m. It just doesn't work very well, right? If you have a very vested thing, you come to the meeting, but it's hard for other members of the public to participate. Those are things we can look at. We got to do a better job for commitment and follow-up too, right? If something is on an agenda, let's say in August, and needs to come back and it doesn't get back till November, it's hard for the member of the public to follow along with that. And that's happened, right? That's something that's happened in the past. Primarily, it's the engineering division that is staffing this. So they're preparing the agendas, they're doing the minutes. Daryl is kind of the lead, but a lot of it also requires commitment from PD. They do a lot of the warrant research that has to be done. So it does take a team approach to get things through the traffic committee. But there's a lot of different ways I think we can look at to make it more responsive to the community and probably do a better job for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think hearing what city manager has to offer, I think working on the structure internally first may give light to if that's going to work, because I agree with Mayor Pro Tem Boyle. It sometimes is difficult to find appointees, and then also have those appointees show up on a regular basis. So I think if we can improve ourselves internally as structure, timelines, so if the public is asking the traffic committee or for a request, what does that request and timeline look like? It's going to be heard at the next meeting. Then what happens? I think talking about that internal structure first and seeing how we can improve that way, and seeing how it goes for a little bit may be helpful to know if we need to go to a full commission or not.
All right, Jennifer, anything for the public?
We don't have anything, Mayor.
And Councilmember Harris, what would the powers of this proposed body be? Would it just be advisory only, or would it be what, if they were to essentially, someone would come up and say, look, I want speed bumps on my street. What power would they have to, under your proposal, to approve those or approve a stop sign or deny it?
I think with the advice and consent of the experts on the commission, the ex officio members, they would start a path to satisfy those requests. If the experts think that, yes, this is something we need, then they can begin the process to implement it. One thing about getting people to get on these commissions, is there any council member that doesn't hear regularly about traffic problems and roads? Because it comes up all the time. So I don't think staffing from our constituents would be a problem. I'm not totally against revitalizing and structuring the traffic committee, but I think I'm always in favor of getting the public involved wherever possible in these types of decisions. And roads and traffic are just at the top of the list.
Okay. So they would have the power to essentially, with the approval or acquiescence of staff, they would have the power to approve items. But then what if those items are, as they often are with traffic, expensive?
What happens when they go to the committee now?
Good.
I mean, that's the whole point. You don't have roles and responsibilities, so it's the same issue you have now. And I think that there have been instances where things should come to the city council for policy decisions, and that's what's been lacking.
I mean, probably the biggest complaint I get about the traffic committee is timeliness. Somebody will submit something and then it goes into a black hole. You bring something to the planning commission and it gets decided that night.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
I completely agree. I also think that the public needs to have some expectation too, that if you submit 41 items in an afternoon, they're not gonna all be taken care of the next meeting, right? Like, we have to do a better job informing them of what's truthfully an item that should go to them and not. And so goes back to the point I'm trying to make, that whether it's a committee or commission, you have to have roles and responsibilities to spell out what goes through, what doesn't, what the process is, and that's really the heart of what's missing here.
No, I couldn't agree more.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Boyle. Is it just popped up top of the list? All right.
If I could be recognized after Darren.
Yeah, Councilmember Smith is next. Go ahead, Councilmember Smith is next.
All right, sorry, I apologize. I appreciate Councilmember Harris raising this for two important reasons. One, traffic safety and traffic control is probably the most primary thing that the city does. It's right there next to our residents. And then two, I do think, sitting up here for the last several years, traffic committee's taken on an expanded and more important role. I mean, particularly with concepts like what Councilmember Zhang talks about, community input on things like, where do we put a stop sign? That's really important to people. And I would agree with the city manager that probably the structure has been overrun by current events. On the other hand, I would be reticent to turn it over to a fully citizen committee because it's really an expert type function. I mean, these are traffic engineer decisions that require being informed by police and fire that cost the city money. I would be concerned that there'd be a tendency for it to be like that Simpsons episode where everything Homer brought to the city council was implemented. We need our staff to be in a position to do their job. And I would prefer to see this inertia be tasking staff with coming back to make the committee more responsive, more transparent, and more accessible to our residents rather than trying to build a citizen commission. And I'll end on this point, and this is not the discussion we're agendized to have, but our subordinate boards and commissions need to be invested in and retooled. And the city attorney's office needs to be in a position to better structure those meetings. So the thought of building a new commission ahead of all of that important work, where we continue to see some of the problems come our way in appeals, I don't think it's the best use of resources right now, but I fully support tasking staff to come back with a new and improved vision for our traffic committee.
All right, Councilor Dupont.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Councilmember Harris, you bring up a good point. Yes, I mean, I think the traffic committee does need some work. It's not what I'm saying, but going to a full commission, I just see some of the same writing on the wall that we've seen with other commissions currently of getting appeals after appeals because staff is saying this is not feasible to do in that location, but a commission says, let's do it anyways. And then we're spending more staff time on appeals, or vice versa. So I think if we focus on retooling what we have and having some roles and responsibilities that allow us to keep the traffic committee accountable, I think that's the first approach to this problem.
Councilor Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Smith, I will agree with you 100% if you can answer one question for me. And that's tell me the difference between, if we're talking about experts, why do we have a planning commission full of citizens? Why don't we just take staff's recommendations and everything and pass them up?
Councilor Smith.
This is a burning question that's coming our way apparently in December again. Planning Commission is there, in my view, to be the citizen voice when there's an issue of discretion like a zoning change. It should not be discretionary whether or not it's safe or effective to put a stop sign or a stoplight in an intersection. It's very different. The Planning Commission exists so that the residents in the neighborhood, they have a shot to organize and hire an expert and make a presentation that changes the staff's mind. Traffic Committee is in a different vein.
No, I get it. Now, this is, I think on one hand you have, if you have staff, right, then you have the danger is you have the classic, group of bureaucrats who just deny everything because if they don't, then that's an unresponsive kind of bureaucracy. And then on the other hand, here, if there's a citizen committee, I think the danger of that is you overly politicize it in that, people are going to lack the expertise, or be too sympathetic sometimes to, to the presenters. And then everybody wants speed bumps on their street. When you do this long enough, right, you're going to learn everybody wants speed bumps on their street. Everybody wants stop signs all over the place. So there needs to be some sort of objective standards and some expertise, I think, in doing it. At the same time, too, we can't just say no all the time. A lot of times there's very reasonable requests that need to be honored. But I just think there's a big fear if we have a citizens committee, especially a citizens committee with more than an advisory capacity, then it really creates a danger of kind of over politicizing these issues, if that makes sense.
You bring up an interesting point. Suppose it wasn't a commission with that power, but it was an advisory commission, very much like the Measure C, tax transparency. They have no power. All they can do is make suggestions. But they're still represented by the citizens.
Yeah, I think if there was some combination where I'm just kind of vaguely hearing, I think hearing amongst council support for, and the city manager said the same thing, support for improving our process, better roles and responsibilities, more responsiveness, streamlined process, again, better outreach to the community. And if we give direction to come up with better ways to handle this and to achieve those goals, one, and then two, potentially consider some sort of advisory citizens body. I think that's an option, but I have some qualms about, I think as was expressed by a number of other council members, about that body with that authority, which I think could get us in a lot of problems because they're going to be making promises to spend a lot of money that we don't have, right? And we're going to make a lot of promises that we won't be able to fulfill. Councilmember Harris.
I'm certainly willing to go to the suggestion to have staff bring back some improvements to the traffic committee. I think they ought to also consider a couple of at-large spots for an advisory capacity only. But I would like to see what they bring back in that regard.
Yeah, or ex officio citizens, potentially advisory. You can do that. Yeah. Councilor Smith.
Yeah, on that point, I I don't know about a full advisory body, but I could see an ex officio spot for a resident commuter or maybe a school bus driver, something along those lines, just to have a different voice on the committee.
Yeah, it gives a good balance. When you think about it, I mean, there's a citizen's voice on there potentially as opposed to, just all staff. Mayor Pro Tem Boyle.
Thank you. Can we ask staff how they feel about this? Because they're the ones who sit. I mean, Daryl, you're the chairperson. Do you wish that there was a different format?
Well, I do have to admit, I chaired this committee 15 years ago. And in 15 years, we haven't changed any of our processes that I see. No updates on our technology, being able to go online and submit requests. You have to come in person. I think there's a lot of areas that we could look at revamping and improving what we do. However, there is, to Councilman Smith's comment, I do have a professional license that I have to use when I look at a warrant and I approve a warrant. If the city council here approves a warrant that I don't approve, I'm told by attorneys that each one of you takes on the personal responsibility and accountability for that traffic incident that happens. So, yeah. So there's some protections for you as well.
You almost got Harris to tender his resignation.
Yeah. So there's some protections I have for you that I try to use discretion on with my license by the state of California, so you are not held liable for situations. And so there are appropriate decisions that need to be held at that level. But however, new insight and having a person from the community involved, I'm not opposed to that. So.
Thank you. And I actually asked Scott last week when we met, I go, when did the traffic committee even evolve? And he's like, I don't even know. So
That's a good point, because I know San Francisco, I believe, has one, LA, San Diego has one, and then there's Merced.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how we got to that point.
So I think there's some improvements we can.
There is.
Okay. Chief, do you have anything to say?
No, I don't have anything to add. I agree 100%. I think that the traffic committee has existed under the philosophy of that's the way we've always done it. And I think that you're currently experiencing a generation of new staff members, new department heads. I did not come from a traffic committee agency, so that was all it's foreign to me. We would make these decisions with meeting with our city engineers and based on traffic data, and we let data tell us what speed bumps need to go where and what stop signs need to go where, because there are so many legal requirements that would dictate what, when, where, and how. I think it would be prudent for us to get an opportunity to get together and have a conversation about how we can improve the current structure, get some changes. Our city manager is completely on board with allowing us to make some changes for improvements. And then the team, I think, is capable and willing to bring something back that I think can meet everybody's needs and can be much more efficient.
Thank you. And I know Chief Wilson's back there. I don't know if you want to chime in as well.
He's ready. He's got dinner getting cold at home or something.
I actually agree with most of the comments here this evening. I think it'll actually be more enjoyable to be a part of the traffic committee if we're meeting a little more regularly and we know that we're actually taking some action on some of those things. One of the frustrating parts that I found being on the committee is sometimes we get to that point where we want to make a change. The community brings up really great ideas, but we don't necessarily have that authority, being the roles and responsibilities aren't really clearly defined. So maybe giving that authority or giving us the avenue to take whatever those issues are to city council. So maybe that can be funded in future projects or something like that. But yeah, I think a little bit of revamping. I do think there's a lot of good conversation that comes. The folks that are represented there, we have a lot of good conversations. Fire is probably the smallest role. But there is certainly a piece from the fire side that is really important when you're talking about adding stop signs on major emergency response routes and things like that. So
thank you. You might have the smallest role, but you have the biggest equipment. So
big piece of it.
And that has to go through our streets.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Casey kind of got at a good point too. I mean, the effectiveness of it too is going to depend on funding to an extent too. So I mean, what's the relationship? That's another point too. The relationship between the council, the traffic committee, the budget. Does the council say, look, you can have X dollars, Daryl gives a big thumbs up to that. But what's the funding like? Because is it going to be existing within budget, within departments? Is there a separate funding source for other projects? So I think it's that point. Okay, so kind of hearing consensus for staff to get together, come up with some ideas. Anybody from the council want to be involved in that process?
Sorry, we can bring back some recommendations to traffic committee and come back to the full council. What do you think about that?
Okay, is that okay,
Does
Mike?
that work? Okay.
Okay. Do you need a motion, or is that sufficient direction? Jennifer? Okay. Do you have your direction? Good.
I apologize. I said traffic committee, I meant transportation subcommittee. Does that work? That's what I meant to say. It's getting a little late. Is that a good group to vet a few ideas before we come back for a subcommittee, or will that work for the council?
I think that's myself, Sarah, and Shane. I think it'd be nice, Mike's item, it'd be nice to have him involved.
Okay.
Yeah, I can give my seat up to Mike on that discussion.
Okay.
There's that subcommittee, or we have the governance and ethics committee as well, just putting that out there.
Is that you saying you want to be involved in that?
No. It's not what I'm saying.
All right, so we got Harris. Anyone else? Anyone else want to be involved? Boyle? Okay. Anybody else? All right. I guess I'll do it too. I might not make that meeting though. Let's see. No, I'll be there. All right. So you have the three of us who can be involved. Okay. All right. I think that takes us to M3. The Michael Harris Show continues.
Agenda item M3, designation of a voting delegate for the 2025 League of California Cities Annual Conference, Annual Business Meeting, October 8th through the 10th, 2025, Long Beach, California.
All right. Is there anything from the public on this, Jennifer?
We don't have any public comments.
All right. This is to appoint or designate Councilmember Harris as our voting delegate for the League of Cities Conference, October 8th through 10th in Long Beach. I think he's the only council member going, if I'm not mistaken.
Move to approve.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember DuPont and a second by Councilmember Smith. Mayor and council, please cast your votes. And the motion passes with Councilmember Harris abstaining.
Very ethical.
Okay, agenda item M4, request to add item to future agenda.
All right, future agenda, starting on my right, Mayor Pro Tem Boyle.
No, nothing this evening.
Councilor DuPont.
Nothing tonight.
Councilor Jean.
Nothing.
Councilor Harris.
Nothing.
Councilor Smith.
No, sir, thank you.
Councilor Deanne. Future agenda, sir. All right, nothing from me. On to council comments, Jennifer.
Agenda item M5, city council comments.
Councilor Deanne, council comments. Any comments on what you've been up to the last couple of weeks?
Same thing I've always done since Lassa got hurt. Stay home with her, make sure she's all right.
Good for you.
And she is, except when she loses stuff. She lost the keys to the car and the house, and she says, and she blames me. So that's not kind of a thing. So we laugh about it, or I laugh about it and just go, get out of her way. Let me tell you though, this is very interesting. We were in Denny's yesterday, and we were eating, and she says, I'm going to the men's room. And I said, the women's room. And I says, fine. So she got up, the other lady got up, and she was sitting just close to us. And Blasa had misplaced her cane. She misplaced it a couple of days ago. And she's walking away, and this lady come up to her that was next to us. She says, excuse me, can I ask you a question? She says, why are you limping? And she told her, she says, oh, I had my hip was broken. And she says, would it offend you if I were to tell you that I want to buy you a cane? I mean, it's just one of those incidences that comes along every now and then. And Blasi says, I appreciate it, but I do have other canes to use, so no thank you. And they chatted for a little bit, and then she came back to me and said, you know what happened? I've already told you the story, so you guys know what happened. But anyway, it just made her feel very good. You know, that somebody comes, a complete stranger, and says, let me take care of you.
That's cool. Good
The
story.
end.
All right. It was a good story. Councilor Smith.
Nothing really to report, but congratulations to the new businesses moving in downtown and also at the old mall site. Look forward to shopping.
Good. Councilor Harris.
Attended several subcommittee meetings in California City's Central Valley Division meeting in Modesto, the old courthouse celebration, and the goods opening, which was pretty tasty.
They look busy. They blind wrapped all the way around the block.
2 times.
Shoot. Councilor Jean. All right. Councilmember Dupont.
Thank you. I want to take this time to thank city staff, city engineering, city contractors for the work we were able to complete this past month in September. The Child's Multi-Use Pathway, while it's been a multiple year project, it was a project that was $1.7 million and a sidewalk project for Southeast Merced from Weaver to Golden Valley. Additionally, in September, the same city staff, city engineering, and city contractors were able to improve and redo sidewalks, crosswalks, and a water main along Don Stoll Elementary. So almost $2 million of projects completed in District 1, improvements in sidewalks and crosswalks and in a water main. So thank you to the good work of the city staff and city engineering and our city contractors.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem Boyle.
Thank you, Mayor. So yes, attending a lot of subcommittee meetings, and I'm very excited for staff to report all the things that we've been talking about. Attended the Gateway to Yosemite 5K, but I walked it. Don't worry, I did not run it. Attended the downtown hall a few weeks ago, and they went over everything with the downtown improvements. And by the way, I was able to get a bird's eye view of Bob Hart Square today, and it's looking nice. So that's very exciting. Also went to the courthouse unveiling this weekend, and also the goods market grand opening as well. And I'm very excited for them. And yes, the line was wrapped around the corner. I'm not saying that we get special favors as electeds, but we were able to sneak in before the whole crowd. So that was kind of nice.
That's cool.
Mayor, if I may, real quick.
Yes.
I do want to send my condolences to the family and friends and community of the city of Chowchilla and the city of Chowchilla Police Department. A tragic event happened this past weekend, and my heart goes out to that community. I know it's a strong community and a tight-knit community.
Thank you. And for adjournment, Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to adjourn tonight's meeting in honor of Chief Stanfield's stepfather who recently passed. His name is Dave Stern.
All right. That's the motion to adjourn in his honor. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Harris and a second by Councilmember Dupont. Mayor and council, please cast your votes.
Might have to clear him. Or not. Well, either way. Everybody good with that?
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Scott's voting. Go.
Unless someone says no, they don't want to go home.
Craig's going to vote no. What's this?